Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Dapper Gaming Podcast. I am your host Ryan, and with us always we have Tyler. He's my pillar.
I am the rock.
We
You
have
are the walrus. Goo goo. Could you?
Kick him out. Beatles. No.
Yeah.
we don't
Beatles
like the
are
Beatles
minutes.
here.
I like the Beatles.
We only listen to Rihanna and Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
I don't
Rihanna.
understand your problem.
What? I didn't get the memo on this.
I've never listened to them, so
Oh.
I forgot
think-
Justin Bieber too. We like him. He's
We don't-
Canadian.
No, he's a
Yeah,
dick.
yeah, he is.
He showed up to talk to the Prime Minister in overalls.
Yeah, I know. Fucking asshole. Someone should slap that kid outside the head. You go minimally dressed how I'm dressed.
He may be Canadian, but he was 2 hours late to a London gig, so
Yeah, he's an asshole. We don't like him.
no, he's horrible.
Okay, back on the topic.
Oh yeah.
It's the 10th episode, so we have the glorious return of Jeffrey. Or Jeffrey.
Glorious
If
return.
there's more of them.
There are multiple of me, but I'm going to be the only one talking. The other
I've-
ones are kind of just off camera.
We've missed you, Jeff. You missed our PS4 talk. And our talk about the Xi3 piston. I didn't have anyone to talk about hardware with.
No more rants
do.
about RAM.
We couldn't rant about RAM. We couldn't rant about single process stream or speeds. There was it was so untechnical talk. It's my strong point.
That's
I
the
can't talk
worst
about game
kind of
design.
talk.
I can't be like the PS4 has crappy games being released for it. No, I can't talk about that. We don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I could talk about single processor speed, but we
Thanks.
didn't get to.
Sorry. Been
I wasn't
busy.
interested.
Lots
Taking
of crazy
classes, what's your
life shit
problem?
going on.
Be
Yeah.
lazy.
Goes
Education.
this.
Take one class like me. Be super productive. Build a game engine in your off time.
But I do that while taking classes until
Ugh.
they start assigning projects, and then I'm like, shit, I don't have free time anymore.
Work on my game engine with me. Make my game with me, Jeff. It'll be amazing.
But I'll have to refactor everything.
That's fine.
I'll do it.
And then
Sure. I think James is probably a better programmer than I am.
we have special guest, first time on the podcast, James Caddick of
Yeah.
youtube.com/Caddicarus.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
Not only the first time here, but second time streaming properly. Not streaming, but you know.
Talking
You
on
don't wanna
Skype
name-
to strangers
Yeah.
for the purpose
It's
of
all-
YouTube
it's
videos. Except that
all
this one will be out well before the first one that was recorded that you and I did with Justin.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
he still doesn't have
Oh,
that
I
video.
did. Oh, I did the Minecraft stream with Hidden Block. Oh, well, that was fun. Yeah, third then. Let's just say third.
Top 10.
Yeah, only 10.
So, we'll start off with what we start off with every week. Tyler, what you been
That's a good
playing?
idea.
Oh, God.
I like that
You
idea.
would pick me first.
Yeah, because you're directly left to me on the top row in the podcast template.
Well,
And then it's Jeff,
Come on.
and then it's James, and then we go back to me because I just go last.
Yeah, well, you've usually got the most games to talk about anyways.
Yeah, let's say because I know Jeff played BioShock, I won't have to talk about BioShock during my time, which cuts down my, 2
Yeah.
hours that I'm going to talk about games.
'cause we all want to listen to that.
Yep. Tyler, what have you been
Uh,
playing this week? Wait, I forgot something.
Oh, God. Oh.
I'm not sure how I'm going to do this.
Oh,
Oh,
There you go, James.
oh,
Just
what?
for
It
you.
didn't even go. Tss.
you didn't
It's
Fucking
Blue
rip
Buck.
off.
redo it. Redo.
It's not a soda pop.
But I've only got 6 beers. I can't
Yeah, you
just
gotta-
open them
yeah,
all
you can
up.
only you can only try it 6 times.
You don't want to do them in a row. Just each time you finish a beer, just do the next one quite publicly. Alright.
That's my good stuff.
So
You
got
like to
a
snort
sinus?
heroin?
I have a really bad cold, and this stuff really fucking helps. It's so good.
Snorting with that-
Bulbasaur in an inhaler. It's the best invention ever conceived.
I do like toilet paper.
Next, of course, to these sticky sumo wrestlers.
The only thing better than
It's
medicine.
The only thing better than scientific breakthroughs, yeah.
Yeah.
Sticky
Okay.
sumos that you stick to the wall and then they kind of fight down it. I don't know if it will fight down my arm. No, they won't. Oh well. We're talking
Tyler,
about games, aren't we?
What you been playing?
Tyler, what have you played?
Nothing at all besides
What?
Darksiders. No.
That's-
Yeah, but I love Darksiders. Talk about it.
I know. I'm on the third boss. Like, just got to there. I didn't really play it that much this week, but I basically made it from the end of the second boss to the beginning of the third boss. I don't know if I'm like close or not. It's the worm guy. Like I'm in the worm zone. So,
That's pretty close to the end, actually.
Which is weird,
because I
'cause there's-
remember beating him and then spending about an hour and a half to beat the rest of the game.
Okay, that's kind of cool because it's not dragging on, but it's kind of the point where like I don't want to do any more puzzles. I just want to like see what happens.
There's more puzzles.
The puzzles are okay. They're not like anything like really too.
Yeah, well, they're like
complicated.
Zelda puzzles. They're not fucking hard. They're just
Yeah.
they're puzzles. That
I
are
They're not like
dungeon-based.
mind puzzles, but puzzles.
Yeah. I bought the second one though. It was in the.
Look
Bundle.
who it is.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I don't.
You interrupted.
I'm sorry. Are you busy?
He's talking about Darksiders. It's like the best
Yeah, we're
game.
talking about Darksiders.
I was gonna go on MGS3.
No, not now.
Oh, okay.
It is a
Sorry,
good
guys.
game.
Who are they?
We can listen to him like eating snakes and random shit from the jungle and like puking.
Yeah, nothing wrong
It's not
with
terrible background noise. Come on. That game's pretty sweet.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite background noise.
Bye bye.
So it's-
Let's
Goodbye.
listen to those- Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah. Let's continue.
Those were some floppy hands clapping right there.
They were.
All right, Tyler.
I'm good at that.
Yeah. I picked up Darksiders 2 for $7, which is a pretty
That's
damn good.
That's a
Deal.
fucking great deal because the game's really good.
I haven't started it. Obviously, I want to be the first one because they kind of probably go together.
All they take place side by side, like they happen concurrently. The thing is that Darksiders 2 is a much better game, and so like it makes it hard to go back to Darksiders 1 after because you're like, there's so much like this stuff mechanically is just better.
So
Like
I
the
should
combat's
be,
better. There's like more RPG stuff. The puzzles are better. Overall, it's just like a better game. It would be like going back to BioShock 1 or BioShock 2 after playing Infinite. Like it's really hard because like
I would
Darksiders
still-
2
so weird.
is just like a far superior game. Except Darksiders 1 is still really excellent.
That was good.
aside from that, I played Battlefield 3 still. Nothing really new. Endgame came out forever ago. I think I already talked about that in like last week's podcast. Game's
Yeah, I
still
think
fun.
so.
It's nothing. I'm kind of want to stop to play Counter Strike again. I haven't played Counter Strike in like probably over a month, and I think they've been releasing updates. Militia just came out on Go.
Oh, dude, we need to play that like right after
Yeah.
the podcast then,
Oh, but
because
dude-
that map is like that map's amazing, even though it's bullshit.
It's okay.
It's like the worst
definitely-
competitive balanced map ever for Counter Strike. Amazing
Yeah.
map to play because it's like the most Call of Duty style fucking bullshit that you'll ever see in Counter Strike besides Office.
They changed it a little bit though, like hostage situations where did you see like basically you have to not defuse them, but you have to hold down E on hostages to untie them, and then you have to carry them, and then while you're carrying, you like hostages no longer follow you. You hold on to them like over your shoulders, and you're slowed down by holding them. So like your movement's slower. And
That sounds a little bit like what they do in Tactical Intervention. In Tactical Intervention, except in Tactical Intervention, they don't follow you and you don't have to carry them. You just have to walk up to them, press E, and then they fucking disappear into thin air and they're rescued.
they kind of do that like this on Counter Strike too. Like you hold down E and they kind of like float to your like shoulders. So it looks like
Yeah,
a good
except
idea.
in this, though, Tyler, it would be like going to play Office, getting to the fucking hostages, holding E, and then them just being rescued.
Oh, and then like game like round over.
Yeah.
Nah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, it's fucking stupid.
Well-
Except that in tactical intervention, you're like on a hostage map, and they're like, you know what's a good idea? Having fucking 40 hostages running around the entire map.
Yeah. I think
But you can use them as human shields if you're a terrorist.
what they did is that you don't have to rescue every hostage too. I think like you only have to have one. Like so one just has to make it, and they're in random locations now. Like kind of like your spawns are. They have random spawn locations for the hostages, which is kind of neat because it adds a little bit more.
That would literally only work on militia, though. I'm assuming they didn't change any of the other stuff because
No,
militia is
because-
like a gigantic fucking map.
Well,
for
it's gigantic,
Counter-Strike.
and there's like multiple levels to that house.
Yeah.
But if you think about, I don't know what the one with the like giant garage with the vents from the top of the roof. I don't know what map that is for some reason. It just came out on Go, but
I know which one you're talking about, where it's
Yeah,
like that commercial industrial warehouse.
yeah, and there's
Yeah.
like a train or like
Yeah.
a mono. Yeah,
I don't know
That
why I
map-
can't remember the name of that map either.
it's not season. I don't know why.
No, it's
Anyways,
not.
basically that map you couldn't do it because there's only one location for those to be. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be in that small room or in the big room that has a small room in it. And other than that, like, it wouldn't make sense. So it's a good idea, but the
Plus,
map
that
design-
map's still broken.
Oh,
Well, it will be forever broken because you go into the fucking vents, your shadow casts through the vent, and your feet come out the bottom, so everyone just fucking shoots you when you're in the vent. Because it
Yeah,
does
there's-
not absorb any of the fucking bullet damage.
Yep.
There's 3 ways to get into the building, and one of them you can clearly see the person crawling slowly through a vent and just shoot through the vent and kill them. So there's really
Yeah.
only 2 ways that you can actually get in.
Yeah, that map's
the other
so
two ways-
fucking broken.
complete garbage to get in anyways because obviously that's what you're gonna look for. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just sit a dude at the door with like a P90 or a shotgun and kill people in one shot.
they
Yeah.
did kind of balance that map because there's windows now you can break in the top and you can look down in, so you can kind of see
So you
almost
can basically pick guys off from the doors.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like so, like you can get someone to go through, but it's still
It'll never be a competitive map though. It's not going to be Dust 2 or something.
that
Counter Strike
game
has like a few bullshit maps that can't be used competitively ever that are like not serious at all. So, and it's nice that they're there, but I still only play them like once every year and go, ah,
I
fuck this
know-
shit, because it's
I
not
know
Counter Strike.
exactly what you're talking about.
I'm
Wait,
sure
you
you
do?
do.
I
James.
don't know.
Okay, so go pick up Counter Strike for the Xbox, and then we'll talk.
Oh, God.
Well, I would pick
Don't
it up for the
play that.
Xbox, except for the fact that my Xbox broke after 3 months of owning it. So,
I'm pretty sure it's on PS3.
360 or the
CS:GO.
original Xbox?
well, my original Xbox is still going for a decade, and my PS3 is still here from 5 years ago, and it hasn't broken down on me once. The Xbox 360 broke in 3 months. Piece of shit.
Mine's
I had
melted
a
3
God-
times.
I had a godly Xbox 360. I bought it release day, and it still works. I don't own it anymore, but I know the person who does, and it still works.
I have
bought it, you don't own it.
3 times.
The only one I've had has worked forever, but that's because I replaced the CD drive on it. Ooh, that was fun. I had to put that out there.
I hate it because when it breaks, I want to know what's broken, and like I take it into Future Shop or whatever, and they'll repair it.
Tell you.
And they fucking say they flushed the graphics unit. Like the fuck? What are you
Listen.
talking about? That's not a thing.
No, that's not a thing.
I'm like, okay, fuck it, it works. Just give me it.
They
I'm outta
clearly
here.
just wrapped it in a towel and turned it on for half an hour, like everyone
Yeah.
else. Fucking assholes.
How
I should
much did
probably
they?
try that next time.
What do they
I-
charge for that?
I bought a warranty because I knew it was gonna melt. I was like, this thing's gonna red ring within a year. I'm buying a warranty.
My
And
one
so far, I've
melted.
cashed in 3 times. Yeah.
My one
retarded.
literally melted. After it broke, I burnt it. I set it on fire.
Did you film
Piece of
it?
shit. I was angry. I was really angry with it. And then Xbox Live, pay for that. Fuck you. Oh, controllers, buy batteries for it. Fuck you. Oh, okay. Not quite as exclusives that I care about. Fuck you. Oh, okay.
Paying
Noisy.
for online
Fuck you.
peer-to-peer
I didn't like the
networking.
Xbox. I must say.
Paying $15 a month to fucking use peer-to-peer networking.
The only good thing about doing that is that the live service is actually okay.
It's,
But
yes, I will agree with you
PlayStation's-
there, but I still
the
don't want to pay
PlayStation's
for it. I
is
don't play
catching
online.
up,
but-
and they're charging nothing.
Yeah, or you pay like the $5 a
Like-
month and get a bajillion free games.
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus is a service that's completely worth having.
Yeah.
I think
Most
I
definitely.
think $15 a month or whatever for Xbox Live Gold just goes so that they can redo the UI every 2 years to make it seem fresh. That's really where all that money goes.
Yeah, plus there's shit that they don't host that for some reason you have to have an Xbox Live Gold account, like goddamn Netflix.
Yep.
So there's more reasons to pay them money every month. It's excellent.
Only problem
I-
with me is that I don't like downloading games. I'm very much a supporter of high street and getting things for the shelf. I don't really download. That's why I don't have many Steam games. I just don't like downloading them. I like to own a physical copy. So
Well,
stuff like
if you
PlayStation, yeah,
play
PS Plus and
PC
everything. is-
games, you don't have a choice. At least
I know.
where I live.
Well,
because like
all the PC games I've got are on disc, so that's kind of cool. But,
Like,
you know.
it's so hard to find them. The only ones that I can find where I live are like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Battlefield, StarCraft II.
This is the only disc
Yeah,
I have
okay.
bought in the last like year. StarCraft II.
I didn't
And
even
bought
buy that
like
on
10
disc.
Games. I bought
I
it
have
on
the
disc.
best
There's
game
no
ever.
reason to buy it on
But-
disc because they just give you a code to unlock it because you get the patch that installs it for free anyways. Everyone gets it.
This is the stuff I've got on disc. I don't know if you can see that.
What the?
Oh my. That's a game.
That's amazing.
I can tell you one thing: it's definitely a game.
Is
It's
it a point and click
definitely a game.
adventure?
I don't even.
Oh my god, it's bad. It's basically spot the difference 8 times, and then that's it. No
What?
voices, the same music track. It's a piece of shit. I'm gonna review it at some point. I think probably on a subscriber kind of milestone or something, probably 100,000 or something. I'm just gonna do it.
There you go. Big
It's
reveal. One day he's
And
gonna
then and then
review
other
that
PC
game.
games I've got. Clive Barker's Undying and stuff like that. So I'm much more classic. I don't really go for modern. Call of Cthulhu and all that kind of stuff. I like all that stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't-
that's it for me this week though. That been watching more TV than I've been playing video games. So.
Game of Thrones starts tonight.
Oh,
Dude,
fuck yeah.
that's what I was watching. I watched both. Well, like half of the second season. I finished that earlier this week, and then watched the first season like over the weekend.
I've got like an event planned for that show.
You have an event planned for that show and you didn't invite me?
It's mainly family, but like
Oh.
we're gathering pretty much everybody that can fit in the living room, and
You guys have
watching that.
HBO?
Yeah.
Fucking fancy.
need
I'm
HBO.
gonna watch
Man.
it-
That's the
I'm gonna
only
watch
thing
it,
I
like-
can watch on TV now. It's HBO.
I
Like
just
the movie.
download it 1 hour later.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
Don't go
I
on
was-
Twitter.
I like to pay them so that they keep making it though. Like I buy the seasons.
Yeah,
instead of-
but you can't get HBO with fucking Shaw unless you get every other channel.
yeah, I got a lot of channels.
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of regional difference conversations today, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Likely.
Do you guys?
Why,
have,
you guys don't have HBO and Game of Thrones in the UK?
We do, but we don't have HBO as far as
It's
I
on
know.
BBC?
But then saying that, I don't watch TV anyway, so I wouldn't know. But I'm
think-
pretty
I
sure
think-
we don't have HBO.
I think BBC has Game of Thrones.
Probably.
Yeah. One of the major British broadcasting groups.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what you been playing this week so we can talk about BioShock Infinite?
The wonderful thing is I have like a month worth of things that I've been playing to talk about, which
That's true, because
runs into
you haven't been
about
on in like a month.
Yeah.
What have you been playing this month? What have you been playing this month?
I bought, as I already kind of showed, Heart of the Swarm. I bought that. I played through it. I love the StarCraft series. Again, it was more what I expected this time after playing the first one.
Okay, pause for a second. Jim Raynor confirmed for permanent bitch status, right?
He's a bit of a bitch.
What a pussy.
Yeah.
Like,
Whatever.
he goes from Brood War, where he's like, I'ma kill you, cunt, for basically, like, destroying the world and trying to kill humanity. Like, he was going to kill Kerrigan. And
Yeah.
then StarCraft II, he's like, I love you, Kerrigan. Don't do this to me.
I'm gonna make you human again, and then she goes back to being Zerg by choice, and he's like, I hate you, but I don't have the balls to kill you, and then
And then he helps her save
spoilers.
the Zerg.
Spoilers.
Whatever.
helps her kill Minx. He helps her kill the asshole who made her Zerg.
Doesn't matter.
That's right.
Fucking
But no, the
what
game
a pussy.
Gameplay's
Fuck
good.
you,
They didn't do
Blizzard.
much with the graphics. They changed up all the menus and it did very little to improve them.
Yeah, but BattleNet 2.0 is a lot better than BattleNet 2.0
definitely.
first revision.
the actual campaign. I mean, there were a few like really good missions that I'd play over again, but it felt kind of little. There were a couple levels that were kind of boring, and it was kind of standard.
Yeah, but for an RTS campaign, it was still really good.
Yeah, it was basically what I expected, and I was like, all right. I mean, I think it was like a $50 game, $50 price point.
It's 40.
I would have paid
It was
30.
40.
Well, after tax, I guess. But I would have paid maybe 30 for it because I'm not going to play the multiplayer much. So, But it was definitely what I
The
expected.
multiplayer is a lot better.
Yeah.
It's just more balanced, if that makes sense. Like, there's some stuff that's way out of balance still, but it's just a lot better because there's, like, more stuff that you can do in the multiplayer. It's a little less... The metagame isn't so simple in comparison to, like, StarCraft Wings of Liberty because you only had so many...
2 choices per
Yeah,
race.
you pretty much had 2 choices per race. Now you got, like, 4.
Yeah. There's some crazy shit going on. I found it difficult to get into because I haven't really watched anybody play it, but I tried the multiplayer bit. I don't know, I'm burned out on that game a little bit. Probably won't play it for a while. And then, as always, I was playing Minecraft. I got into Feed the Beast. It's another set of mods. Been enjoying that. It's kind of the one that all the Let's Players are slowly moving to, ditching like Tekkit and stuff. I quite enjoy Minecraft.
Players.
And then finally BioShock Infinite, which I'm working my way through right now, which, you know, everybody rated 10 out of 10.
How much do you like Elizabeth?
I just
fuck.
saw the light go into Ryan's eyes.
Yeah.
Game's really good.
Yeah.
It's not a
Good.
10 out of 10, and the story's not that special, but the writing is really amazing. It's some of the best video game writing pretty much ever, and definitely for FPSs.
Oh,
It's
God,
like the first-
I need to get on this. I need to get in on this.
It's the first
It's-
FPS that I've played since Half-Life 2 where I got actually engaged with the characters in the world and just wanted to finish because of the story.
See, that was how I was with the first BioShock. I'm not really the biggest FPS fan, but the first BioShock I completely adore. I love the first one. Second one was okay. It wasn't really a good follow-up, but it was fun enough.
It wasn't even made by the same team, though.
It was
made
made by a
by
different
2K Marin.
But yeah, but I still liked it. I still
It's
liked
still a
it.
really
I
good
just,
game.
I just,
It's
I like
just-
the whole. I like the whole mythos. I just love how detailed it all is, and just how much history there is about
The
it.
weird thing about BioShock Infinite is that it's completely disjointed from the rest of the franchise while being completely related. Like, everything in BioShock Infinite is really heavily connected to BioShock, but completely disconnected at the exact same time.
As soon as I heard that it was taking place in the sky, I just thought, how does that work? How you can't go from deep under the sea to
Yeah.
all the way.
It makes sense when you get about halfway through the game.
Yeah, I know people
From
are saying.
what I
that.
can
It's
tell,
just-
I haven't seen anything, any connection between them. Like, there's no acknowledgement that Rapture exists in BioShock.
Okay, Jeff,
Infinite.
by about halfway through the game, you'll be like, oh, look at this, because they tell you something. But at the very end of the game, you'll be like, wow, okay. Because,
That
like,
makes sense. Yeah.
it...
I think, from what I can tell, it was like Rapture was all about science, right? Whereas the Columbia, is it called? The new city? The Flying City
You
is
have to remember in
more about
Rapture, though,
religion.
there was a person who was all about science as well as someone who was pretty heavily religiously influenced.
Yeah.
And
But,
you
like-
No, that's
still
what- yeah,
had
there was always the
and you still
extremists,
had a
that was the whole
dude who was
problem.
trying to save his daughter.
hmm
There's by the time when you beat the game, you'll be like, okay, this all makes sense now.
Okay.
There,
All I know is I'm playing through it and like graphics, sound, everything, it's amazing. Like it's a really cool experience wandering through this huge floating city and there's like massive contrast in the environments, even though you're always like in floating buildings. Like sometimes you'll be in like this heavenly skyscape of buildings, like there's huge angel statues and like the sun shining through the clouds, and like it's basically human-made heaven. And then like two or half a level later, you'll be in like this creepy cultist, like shadowy building where like there's
Or
barely
like
any
out in
light.
the slums.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad for that. That was the one thing that I was worried about, because what I did love about the original one was just how claustrophobic and horrible and dank and just destroyed it all
super
was,
open.
and it actually creeped the fuck out of me. And I
This
just
is
thought,
really,
how's that going to
really
happen with the
open. The
sun
environments
shining
are
through the
huge.
clouds?
Yeah, this one's crazy. It's like some areas you'll just be walking through basically heaven on earth for white people. It is.
Yeah,
There's
there's a lot of
full-
social commentary in BioShock Infinite.
Interesting.
There's a lot of stuff about racism in it, but there's
Yeah.
also a lot of stuff about income disparity, because I mean, global
It's-
income disparity is really large, but in the United States and Canada to some degree, especially Vancouver, like Geoff and I live near Vancouver. Vancouver is the richest part of North America while simultaneously being the poorest.
Yeah.
Like East and West Hastings. You go from the richest part of Canada to the absolute dirt poorest part of Canada in about 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
so like income disparity is a really big topic in BioShock Infinite, because like you have this like utopia that was built to basically praise this guy named the Prophet, or named Comstock. He's like a prophet, and he's built this amazing floating city. But obviously, if you're living in utopia, you don't want like a menial labor job, but that's still necessary. And so they hire in like a bunch of ex-convicts, who's like a largely
see.
black population. It's not a. This isn't really a spoiler because this is like the first hour of the game.
Yeah,
and the
I
first
really- I
hour of the
really need to
game,
get
there's no shooting or anything. It's just like, this is where we live. Like it's just
Yeah.
an hour of setting
That's
up
brilliant.
what Columbia is. And so like there's a huge
very
amount of
cool.
social commentary regarding racism, religious beliefs, but not and patriotism, but it's not about actual religion. It's about like cultish followings, which is
Yeah.
also something that's been getting really big in the United States, because like it not so much in Canada, because Canada doesn't have like Mormon ran fortresses, but the U.S. has a lot of those. So like there's a lot of social commentary based on like what's going on in the U.S. right now.
Yeah. It's very, very cool, and it's a very, very like alive world to explore. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And then on top of that, like just the world itself, the gameplay is really good. Like it's just as solid as the first BioShock. It's actually improved, probably a little more
The
streamlined.
skylines are awesome. They work
Yeah.
really smoothly.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they would work so smoothly, because like they showed them off at E3 and I was like, that's really cool. I just don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And then
No,
it
they're
worked.
really easy to use.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then like I love they've limited weapons, so you can only carry 2 weapons at once.
Uh,
I kind of like that because it's like, oh shit, I just walked into a huge open area with a shotgun and a pistol. Like fuck. So
yeah,
you
but
gotta
it's so
figure out ways
because
to
of the
beat
tear
situation.
mechanic. Because of the
Yeah.
tear mechanic and your powers, it's so easy to kill guys, and then you just always end up using whatever guns like they're using. Also, the respawn mechanic in BioShock, which is something I've always had a beef with, makes the game unnecessarily easy on every single difficulty, because you die, but there's no punishment for it.
You lose a bunch of money and
Yeah, but
respawn
you
with, like,
don't.
half
It doesn't
health.
matter. Money's really plentiful, even on the hard difficulty. I managed to buy every single upgrade that I ran into almost, and I was on hard. And when I died, like there was basically no punishment for it, because you lost some cash, but the fight the next time's easier because they don't respawn.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's basically
The
just
bad
them
guys-
trying
the
to
bad guys
fix.
will actually
Alright.
respawn if you backtrack.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're not backtracking a lot on that game. It's a lot more.
I
It's pretty
backtrack a lot.
linear.
I find lockpicks make me backtrack.
I'm only assuming that it focuses more on the story than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit.
It
There's
focuses a
of-
lot on Elizabeth. The story involves you quite heavily, but Elizabeth is really like the main sell for that game. She's an amazing character. She's one of the best characters ever in video games. She's amazing.
And I'm right in thinking that they're not romantically involved.
No, they're not. She's not at
Thank
any point a
fuck for
romantic
that.
interest.
I think that
I
would have killed. I think that would have killed it a little bit for me, because every fucking game does that cliched rubbish. But
I don't know if they end up romantically involved by the end, but at
They
the point in
don't.
time, Not at all. Okay. Yeah.
The
No,
beach
she's
scene's
just like.
pretty amazing. I love that beach scene, which is where you
Yeah.
were at last night.
Mm-hmm. No, that's like when you first really get to meet her as a
Yeah.
character. I think just like as a character herself, like the actual character's story and dialogue and that sort of thing, really, really good. But I love her mechanically as well in the game. Like normally when you've got a sidekick character, like they get killed in fights and you got to run over and revive them, and like they get in your way, they have trouble following you, like they're pretty much useless and it's annoying as shit. Like you'd rather not have them there. But Elizabeth gives you, I think it's like 3 or 4 abilities that are really useful throughout the game and like not clunky at all. Like I think she
can pick locks, she can open tears, which are basically like is a mechanic where there'll be like a bunch of tears when you get into a fight from like alternate realities.
It's
and
like
she can open them up to
advantages
bring them
choose
into your reality, but she can only open up one at a time. So like she could open up a tear that has like a freight hook for you to hang off of, or she can open up a tear where there's like a turret that can fight for you or something. The other thing is she can pick locks. So you need to like find lock picks throughout the world, and if you open up these locks, then there's stuff like vigors, which are this game's version of plasmids. There's a bunch of health or whatever, there's just items behind them. And she finds stuff for you during combat.
Yeah, and she'll decode ciphers. So like you can find cipher, which will just be like weird text like written in blood or something on a wall, and then you can go and find a book that tells her how to decode it, and she'll like tell you what it says.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of those in the game.
Yeah, I've seen one so far. I love that like while you're playing, she'll like find money or ammo or like food and stuff, and just be like, "Hey, you want some cash?" And you hit a button, and she just pops.
The money thing gets irritating by the end of the game.
Yeah, she does it a lot.
Yeah, because it's like all the time. She's like, "Want some money?" and she flips you $1 and
it's
like things cost
it's
$1,200.
In the animation, it's like $20 in the game.
No, dude, no. Literally at the end of the game, she did it like 4 times in fucking 5 minutes, and it was $1 each time. And it's like, all these fucking upgrades are like $1,500, bitch.
Well, you're $1 better off, and you didn't do any work for it. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, well, I fucking sat for like 10 seconds in a goddamn animation.
It's not 10 seconds. I thought it was very well implemented.
The
animation is long enough that it's like really smooth and crisp looking, but it's short enough not to be irritating.
Everything but the dollars. Everything but the money. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think she is probably one of the most effective NPCs I've ever had in a game. And she's actually like she makes the game way more fun.
Yeah, like I've beaten the game already. I have my review up on it, but like when she's gone, there's a few times in the game where she's gone, like not with you during combat and stuff, and you really wish she was there.
Yeah. She's quite useful, which is awesome. The only real bad points I had on the game, I have this weird thing where like in game my mouse is insanely sensitive. Like I move it a
Turn
millimeter,
off.
like
Mouse acceleration is on by default. Turn it off.
I turned it off, but then when I go into menus, it's like 1/20th that speed, and I'm like, like I just want to navigate to the next option. The mouse is not moving.
Use your keyboard.
Yeah, I basically have to, but that's just weird to me. Like I don't know how they ended up managing that.
Dude, you can't play with the mouse acceleration. It was on by default, and I spent the first hour playing with it, and the game was unplayable. And because, like, by default on PC games, like, mouse acceleration's off because it breaks every fucking game you have it on in. So no one ever turns it on. I don't know a single person who ever fucking uses mouse acceleration. And they're like, let's just turn this on. And so I played for an hour, and, like, you're moving, and your cursor's all jagged. Like, if my finger's the cursor, it's like... when you're fucking moving around. But it's also, like, crazy sensitive. Especially when you already play with a crazy sensitive mouse. Because I play it, like... I play at 4000 DPI with a max, like, operating system sensitivity. And so, fucking, like, just touching my mouse sent my cursor, like, all around the screen. I couldn't even keep my hand on my fucking mouse.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand why that is actually default for most games. It's so confusing.
It's not default for
Nobody
most games
plays
on
them.
PC.
Most games I've played have been default.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
usually like
weirdest thing.
to turn that off. Um, I don't know, it's weird. And I like the worst thing is there's operating systems like Mac used to have the ability to turn acceleration off. They took that out.
Yeah,
Actually
that's
took
so
that out.
fucking broken.
It's like, what the hell were you thinking?
Let's remove features from the operating system.
Yeah. Let's make it way hard. I have to download like programs that basically hack
Compensate
into a
for it.
deprecated API in OS X to set acceleration to 0. I'm like, holy crap. This is
And the
garbage.
other thing is, on PC, the BioShock Infinite has a terrible stuttering problem on like a ton of different hardware.
I haven't had it.
Yeah, you haven't had it, luckily. I had it fucking awful. Like
I
2
find-
to 3 second stutters fucking every single level. Every time that you get near a loading point. And it was because for some... Okay, two issues. One, there seems to be an issue with Sandy Bridge's processors, specifically the i7s.
Yeah, I have an i5.
Yeah, I have an i5 too. So, and then the next thing is, it isn't reading the VRAM on a lot of graphics cards correctly. So, like, I have a 2 gigabyte card, like 2 gigabytes of VRAM on my card. It was using 180 megabytes for the fucking pool size. So when you like get near a new zone, it's like, let's spend 10 seconds trying to load a fucking like gig of textures. It's like, no, you don't need to do this.
I have RAM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I managed to fix
That's
that. You
unfortunate.
can change it in the like game engine's ini files.
There is also the there's like a command line script that you can run that will
Oh,
tell
you
like,
have to
it'll
run the
automatically do it.
command line script in order to load from the ini files when you launch.
Yeah.
But you can set it as like a launch option in Steam if you know if you know the script.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't know. I quite enjoyed the game. I think it'd be really good on consoles, honestly. Like as a PC game it's good, but I think as a console game it'll be pretty flippin' amazing.
It's not going to be as good of an experience just because graphics
Well, the graphics will be
but-
lower, but
and like
like
the
all of the
resolution and
menus
stuff.
and everything will be streamlined for console games.
Yeah, it'll
Which
work.
is you want to know what made me happiest about that game more than anything else?
What?
You can adjust your field of view.
Oh yeah, you can also
When I
do it in
started
the
the
ini
game-
files to make it even higher.
Yeah,
You
I
can
was
only
like,
go
I'm gonna
by.
get motion sick.
You can only
I
go.
was like, I'm gonna get motion sick. I need to turn this up to max, like field of view as big as possible.
You can only turn it up by 15%, which I think puts it at 75 FOV. But you can change it in the ini files to like 110.
I like 90 normally.
90 is good, yeah. That's good for like a scripted FPS. If you're playing like a multiplayer game competitively, you max the field of view to the highest you can possibly get so that you can see
180.
everything.
Quake Pro 180.
The Quake's 120, isn't it?
Quake Pro I think was 180.
Oh, okay.
Something retarded. It was just like stupid.
James, what have you been playing this week?
Oof, I am a busy guy, so I don't really have much time to play much new kind of stuff. The only kind of stuff, because I've got this little project with Did You Know Gaming going on, I've been playing a lot of Metal Gear Solid, trying to search out all the Easter eggs, which is a pain in the ass, because there's just so many of them, and
not
if you miss
fun at
one
all.
and you haven't saved, then you have to go all the way to the beginning and play all the way up to that point because there's no back. Oh, it's a nightmare. But apart from that, yeah, when I'm kind of not doing that, I've been playing a bit of Rayman Origins, actually.
Oh, nice.
And I really, really like it. I'm a bit late, obviously, but that's the most recent thing I've been playing, and I love the difficulty of it. It's so frustrating, but frustrating up to the point that you want to just try it again straight away. It's just so quick, but it's so difficult at the same time. It's a weird sensation. But yeah, it's probably nowhere near on the level of your guys' weeks of playing games.
Don't
But,
worry, I had
yeah.
a super slow week. I only played 3 games.
Uh,
I made
oh,
sure
we-
to play
we
another
usually-
game last night just so that I had 3 games.
Yeah, I stayed up late playing BioShock so I could talk about it more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's all I've been doing really. I've just been getting really frustrated on the more trickier parts of Origins because when it wants to be tricky, it wants to be like Super Meat Boy tricky. It really grinds at you. It's very
Yeah,
trial and error
that's
and
awesome.
very. It's good fun. It's good fun. It's not what I expected, so it's all good. It's all good. But that's all I've really been doing. I've been too busy to do anything else. So yeah, the end.
Well, I played the same games that I played last week. I played BioShock, so I don't need to talk about that. I played a ton of Path of Exile last night. Because they're doing weekly content patches until release. So every fucking week there's like a 700 megabyte patch to download for that game. Which explains why when I turned it on like 2 weeks ago for the first time in a month, because I just haven't had time to play it, that there was like several gigs to download, and I was like, oh god. Because the third act of that game isn't finished yet. Oh, I realized James might not know what Path of Exile is. So Path of Exile is like, you know Diablo, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Path of Exile is basically what Diablo 3 should have been. It's a lot more like Diablo 2,
Ah.
but maybe a
So-
little more hardcore because it locks you into stuff, and you have like this huge passive tree that you have to put
Right.
points in when you level up. But it's really hard to like refund points, so you can get like you lock into stuff and you can just spec wrong and then have to start your character over again because your spec's so broken that you can't beat the game anymore.
Oh really? Oof.
Yeah. So it's a lot more hardcore and there's a lot more planning involved in it. There's also no money. It works on a barter system. So when you sell items, like you might only get identity scrolls for them, but then you can try to sell those identity scrolls for like town portal scrolls or something else. And it's just a lot more mechanically involved. It's just a lot more hardcore than Diablo ever was. But it's really refreshing to play a PC game that doesn't treat me like I'm fucking retarded like Diablo 3. Also, it's free to play, and they don't sell power or any sort of advantage at any time. The only thing they sell is that you can, like, get special magic effects when you, like, cast spells. Instead of, like, shooting a fireball when you use the fireball spell, it shoots, like, a blue fireball.
Ooh.
Like,
I should get
that's
some
the
of
only
those.
kind of stuff they sell, which is really fair for a free-to-play
Cos-
game.
Cosmetic stuff, then?
Yeah,
basically?
it's purely cosmetic.
Maple Story did that for the most part, if I remember right. Not to get off.
I'm looking at the skill tree right now, and that's insane.
Dude, that's
It's
just
like-
passive skills.
Yeah,
Skills in
I'm,
that game
like-
are all Jeff. There's gems that you socket. All the skills are socketed gems, and you
That's
level them up by
ridiculous.
having them equipped. And so, like, red gems are like. Also, you have support gems, which change the effects of socketed gems that have skills. But the support gem will be like cause stun for 3 seconds or something, and like there's like these links between the sockets on the gems, or I mean sockets on the equipment, and you have to have support gems linked in the equipment to the gem that you have socketed. So
That
like
sounds like the original rune setup for Diablo. They
yeah,
kinda-
but a little more complex, a bit more fleshed out.
yeah.
It's
No,
amazing.
that just looks insane. Like, wow.
And it's free to play, Jeff, and it's amazing. And
No,
because
it
of the
just
way that
takes
the
time.
passive, and because of the way that the skill tree works, and because of the way equipment works, you can multi-spec in that game, kind of, or at least off-spec. Like for example, I play a pure dexterity character, which is supposed to be the ranger. Default, they use bows, but instead I use dual wielding claw weapons, because claw weapons restore health on hits.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's normally a dexterity int character,
Yeah.
not a dexterity peer character. But because of the passive skill tree, I have just the minimum amount of intelligence that you require to use those weapons. And then also a way higher crit rate than the normal character that uses that, which would be the thief.
Yeah.
And because because there's no class specific skills, like I still have all the skills that would correspond with those weapons.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It looks better than Diablo 3. I'll give you that.
It's fucking amazing.
Definitely looks better. They just took out all the character customization in Diablo 3, and it just hurt the game really bad.
Okay, so this is how little I know about this ship. I thought people were happy with Diablo 3. I don't know. I have no idea at all.
It's
but-
awful. It was one of the
Nobody's happy
best-selling
with it.
PC games of all time that everyone fucking hates. It was so bad.
Yeah, very few people liked it. It just like they dumbed it right down from Diablo 2, right? So they made it more streamlined. They made it a lot more like friendly.
Oh
for
yeah,
players.
that's the worst
And then
thing
they
to
announced
do.
the console
Yeah.
version.
Yeah. Well,
Which
they were clearly planning one.
Yeah, the
And
thing
that's-
is,
I
like,
think
Geoff
that's
and I
why
were
it's so
playing in the
simple.
beta, and we're like, and it was a lot more like Diablo 2, and it's like, this is pretty good. And then,
Yeah,
like,
it's a
one
good
day we log
game.
on, and it's like, the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, they changed everything. They changed fucking everything in the game. Like
Yeah.
all of the way your attributes work, the way your skills work, the way items work. They changed everything one day in beta, and I was just like,
Yeah, one day we just logged on, everything was automated, and we're like, what happened?
what?
And then we're
Well,
like, there's gonna be a
still-
and then we're just like, well, there's gonna be a console version because of some of the shit that they did with the abilities, and now there's a console version, and the console version looks better and plays better than Diablo 3 anyways.
Yeah, the console version looks better than the PC version.
Yeah, they got rid of the fucking auction house, which completely broke Diablo 3 in balance anyways.
No, that game. I mean, graphically and like gameplay wise, it was fairly fun, but it just lacked depth. Like I beat the campaign once, and in Diablo you're supposed to beat it like 3 times to get to the end game where you're like fighting the insanely hard bosses and you get all the really good loot and stuff. I beat the game once and didn't want to play anymore. Like
Yeah,
I never
same thing
got
with me.
the end game because it was just like the story was good. The
The story wasn't good. Fuck
Mm.
you.
It was terrible.
They killed Deckard Cain and had that stupid girl, I can't remember her name, walking around the whole time. Oh,
Clearly-
Deckard, zombies don't exist. That's silly. Don't be stupid. Fucking zombies everywhere. Fuck her.
I don't remember saying
Wasn't
that. Okay, it wasn't that bad. You're just sour.
Terrible.
I enjoyed like all of this cinematic stuff, all the different scenes, all the different areas. I
I
enjoyed
like some of
playing
the stuff they did with the bosses. But
Yeah,
the thing is that they just took a lot of like World of Warcraft elements for the bosses, and then I was playing them, and I was like, I should just be fucking playing WoW again, because these bosses
Well-
aren't as good as the WoW bosses, but play a
They're-
lot like them
for
mechanically.
1v1, right? I don't know. I felt they were fun. I didn't get very far in World of Warcraft, so I never played the cool bosses. But they did the exact same thing with Heart of the Swarm. Like there's a level where you fight 4 bosses that were like Diablo bosses. It was like playing Diablo. for a
Yeah,
level.
which was like playing WoW, and it makes me want to go back to it, because I realized the only good like MMO bosses, like raid bosses, are in WoW. So,
And you said wow when you played them.
Yeah.
no.
I say wow a lot.
When I was playing World of Warcraft
That
and
you
raiding, all I was doing was bitching about casualization, the game being terrible, and then I quit, and then I'm like, fuck, there's nothing as good as it.
It's still the best. Yeah. I don't know. We don't need to go on another Diablo 3 rant.
No. So the other game I've been playing is Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate, because that game's Game of the Year already, without a doubt.
For you?
If you don't like Monster Hunter, you fucking
I've
shouldn't play
never
games.
played it. I never played it.
You're gonna have to come over. I'm gonna make you play Monster Hunter for 5 hours, because
You're
it
gonna
takes
duct
5
tape my
hours
hands
to get
to
to
a
a point
controller.
where you know what the fuck you're doing and the game's good.
You gonna duct tape my hands to a controller and just say play?
Jeff, the game came out on Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday before,
Yeah.
and I have 110 hours.
Holy shit.
Wow, I'm
in 2
so
weeks.
lightweight.
Ryan's pretty hardcore gamer.
Well, I don't have anything to do besides play games right now and work on my game engine, so
Well, you know,
all I do is write code, because I turn that into like a directed study at school, and then I play games for the purpose of reviewing them, because I actually get paid money to review them. Except Monster Hunter, where I haven't reviewed it because I just love it. It's too good to review yet.
your review would just be like,
Well, the problem is that I can't review Monster Hunter, because like it's a game that you can't really beat permanently, but even if you beat it, it takes 500 hours.
well, you can play chunks of it and then do your impressions.
I'm gonna review it because 110 hours is enough to write a review, especially when I already beat Try. Because this is just an HD remake with twice as much content. People were complaining that there's like not enough, that it shouldn't be enough to like to sell as a new game at $60 because they're like, oh, it's just an HD remake. $60 is too much, especially when Try only came out 3 years ago. Monster Hunter Try has 35 monsters in it. Monster Hunter Try Ultimate for the Wii U has 73.
So it's over double.
Yeah.
Holy
and
crap.
all you do in that game is, and
That's
every
impressive.
monster in that game is pretty much just a gigantic boss fight that you fight for 45 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's, yeah, from what I understand, it's just a massive boss fight game.
Yeah, you're just like, you
That
kill a
sounds good.
boss, and then you're like, okay, now I can make this equipment, and then you get like better equipment so that you can go fight bigger monsters.
Can you fight them in any order you want?
No, so they
Kind of gay.
okay. So what happens is that you like get levels that you're given from the Monster Hunter Guild, and so they're like, here's like 10 quests, and you can go do those in whatever order you want.
Is
But
there
like you can
good
only do those 10
strategies like,
quests,
hey, if I kill this monster, I can make armor out of its hide or whatever,
which will give me
that'll
resistance
make me
to
immune
this
to
type.
fire or something, and go
Yeah.
kill that monster a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's pretty necessary.
It's fucking amazing. And then the online's way better than the regular Try, which is awesome. So it's just all around like a way better game. I'm probably gonna make it my game of the year. I'll be hard pressed not to.
Let's see. There's a lot of games coming out before the end of this year. Maybe
Yeah, but I'm
something
gonna be
will
really
just
surprised
blow
if there's a
everybody's
game
minds.
that can beat me. That can beat like. If there's a game that can drag me in for 100 hours of gameplay in fucking like a week and a half, then sure
Well,
it can beat Monster Hunter. But Monster
The number
Hunter
of
Try,
hours you put into a game shouldn't make it your game of the year, though. Like, you play a 4-hour game like Journey,
Jeff, I still love it. It's super fun. It's the best
know.
thing I've fucking played in years.
but like Journey won a lot of game of the years last year. It's 4 hours long.
Yeah, I
Right?
know.
Something could just come out that's like, holy shit, why has this never been done before, and just blow your mind.
Monster
It
Hunter
won't,
Try
but it
Ultimate.
could.
Actually, the thing about Monster Hunter is that it hasn't changed since the very first one. But it's the only game like it. The funny thing about Monster Hunter is that at first it seems like a more approachable Dark Souls. The thing is that it gets like to be 4 or 5 times harder than Dark Souls by the end of it.
Impossible.
Dark Souls is fucking easy in comparison to any Monster Hunter game. I'm not kidding.
Sorry.
Besides that, I haven't really played anything else. James,
Alright.
you should get Monster Hunter. It's on 3DS. Excellent response. Exactly what I was expecting to get.
He's very interested in Monster Hunter, you can tell.
It's like he's not even listening. He's smirking a little bit.
Alright, should we move on to our actual topics?
No, I don't have a 3DS. I'm a bad man.
Oh, I thought you had a 3DS.
I don't. I have the
No, you
games on
have
the
a
shelf, but
DDS.
it's not mine. They're my sister's.
Ah. Well, she
That's-
should
that's-
get
that's-
Monster
that's
Hunter
the
Try
issue
Ultimate.
there. Yeah,
Or
that
you
is
guys
the
should
big
buy a
issue
Wii
there.
U. Because you can play it together. It's cross-platform. So if you have a Wii U and a 3DS, you can play it together.
I would get a Wii U, except for the fact that the UK have extortionate prices for the Wii U. It's like nearly 400 quid for the premium pack, which is, I don't know, $600, I guess, nearly $650.
I paid $250 for my deluxe version in fucking November.
Well then, yeah, I don't know if the price
That's
has gone down.
astounding because that's more than double. And the thing is, like, when consoles come out in Canada, normally they're double the price as the US. Like, the PS3 came out and people were complaining in the US that it was $600. It was fucking $900 before tax in Canada. It was $1,000 after tax.
God,
It was like that for fucking
that's
months.
nasty.
Well, your sister should get Monster Hunter Try Ultimate because it's really fucking good. But
I'll
you
let her know.
probably
I'll give her-
need
I'll
the
give her
Circle
the
Pad
heads up.
Pro. You need that Circle Pad, the second one. The add-on. I think they're like $20 from Nintendo.
Hmm.
I think the
Okay.
the basic one,
The basic
It's
one
like
here is like
200
$200.
£200.
Not sure what. Are you talking about the Wii U?
Yeah, the basic Wii U, like
I
the
don't
lowest.
know, but it's still ridiculous.
I'm
If I was
just-
gonna
I'm
if I was
just
gonna
looking
get
up on
anything, I'd get the
Google.
premium. So
Yeah.
You want to get the premium anyways because you get a 10% cash back, or well, not 10% cash back, but you get a 10% credit back on all the digital, on all your digital purchases. So like if you buy a $50 game, you get $5 back to spend on the eShop. So,
That's
and a lot of
actually
games from Japan don't get physical releases in Europe and North America because normally they never get releases in Europe and North America. Like, or they get them years later, like Pandora's Tower, Last Story, Xenoblade.
Which are really good games. They're just not the North American
Well,
market.
fuck,
isn't
there was
quite
only
the
like
right
a
market
thousand.
for them.
There was only like a couple thousand copies of Xenoblade Chronicles in fucking North America when it came out here last year. They go for
But,
over,
like-
they go for over $150 on fucking eBay now.
Mhm.
Retarded.
There's just not the market to produce tons of them, right? Like they're kind
No,
of a
there's
niche
not.
thing.
They only bring in enough. Normally, when a Japanese game for like the Wii comes to North America, they only bring in enough for pre-orders at GameStop.
It's pretty crazy. I think
So
we talked about that.
yeah, you want to move on to the new stuff, or do you guys want to take a break and grab a drink if anyone needs that? Because this will be the time to do it.
why not?
Welcome back. We've returned from break. We've fixed Tyler's camera, and now we're gonna finally move on to the actual discussion topics for this podcast. And
And I've got some half-baked Ben and Jerry's, so I'm ready to go.
Nice.
Yes.
what an excellent pun.
Mm.
So the first game that we're gonna talk about here, we've got the Double Fine adventure game. It just ended up finally getting a name and some details released on it. Plus, its excellent trailer. So, I actually backed this on. Well, I didn't back it on Kickstarter, but I did back it early. I ended up paying through their site directly. But I love Tim Schafer games.
Yeah.
I think everyone does.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Are you implying you've never played a Tim Schafer game?
Probably, but I wouldn't know.
Psychonauts?
Psychonauts.
I
Psych-
haven't played
so
Psychonauts.
good.
People keep telling me I
It's
should,
so
but
You
No, I've
have
never played
to.
it.
Good.
It's amazing. It was one of the best
It's-
Xbox games ever.
That was probably the best Xbox game for
only,
me.
Xbox only.
It's out on PC now.
Yeah,
But it
it's
was
out
for
on
the
PC
original
and it's
Xbox.
cheap on PC and it's probably easier and it's a better version.
I'll probably
Um,
get the Xbox version then.
Okay, fair enough. It can pretty much run on anything though, just to be fair. And you
Right.
can
I
get it
don't-
for like $5.
I don't know if
at
it's
times.
available for anything Sony.
No,
I don't think it is.
so. But the PC version's really good. You just play it with a 360 pad because I mean those things are like $10.
Huh.
But they finally gave us some information on what is. It's kind of a historic game because it's the first game that like. It's the first big game that did really well on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like this is a game where I think it's the first game where they really wanted a lot of money and got a lot more than they asked for.
Didn't they ask for like $1 million and they got like 3.3 million or something?
I think that's Wasteland 2.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing the Kickstarter and being like, "Oh God, I hope this goes through."
And then you realized it was a. You realized it. Oh, Geoff was kind of right.
Yeah.
They got 3.3 million, but they asked for 400,000.
Holy shit. It's a pretty big amount, or a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We don't get a lot of point and click adventure games. I mean, we have the ones from Telltale, which Walking Dead was really good. I liked the Monkey Island ones better than Monkey Island 4 because that was atrocious and killed the franchise for a decade. But I mean, they're not as good as 1, 2, and 3. So, but also I don't really. If I want a new Monkey Island game, which I do, I want it done properly by Tim Schafer, Ron Gilbert, and like the whole team, not just fucking Tim.
I knew that was where I heard the name from. Monkey Island, that was it.
Yeah, he made Monkey Island,
Yeah, I knew it somewhere. I'm a bit kind of
Grim
somewhere else.
Fandango, which he did by
Yeah.
himself. He didn't do it with Ron Gilbert, and he did Maniac Mansion.
And he did Brutal Legend, but that was probably the worst game I've played from him.
Yeah, but that's still a.
I didn't like Brutal Legend that much.
It
I
was an
enjoyed
RTS.
it.
I did not expect that at all.
It's an RTS and an action game.
Yeah, I wanted like a pure action game, and I wanted it to be like really good action, but instead they did both RTS and action, and I found like it kind of watered down both mechanics
Yeah.
to a point where I was like, eh.
That and by the halfway point, I was fed up with all the metal jokes, so I gave up.
It was
I
still a
beat
really
it, but
excellent game.
I wasn't happy
I
with
like
the
it.
end.
I like it in hindsight because like I know what it is and I know what it tried to be, and like I can enjoy it for those, I guess, those factors. But definitely at the time, I don't think I liked it even at the time, but it was like this wasn't really what I expected.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the RTS stuff because it's still not very good.
It's too, everything's too watered down and simple,
It's better on the PC.
probably.
Everything's better on PC usually.
Yeah, usually.
Unless it's a console port, and then it's shite.
Depending on the console port, yes.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty atrocious.
Most of the Call of Duties.
They run okay. They just have awful FOV that is unchangeable.
Hey, my face is like a foot away from the screen. This is giving me motion sickness.
I really like that 50 degrees of field of view.
Jesus.
It's awful.
I give a
Fucking
minimum
Call
of
of
like
Duty.
75 in my games.
But I'm super excited that the Double Fine Adventure game got a name because like the idea sounds really cool. It's about a girl who is basically like in a fantasy world, and she's going to be sacrificed to a monster to save her village. So she like fights against the people who are going to sacrifice her and tries to escape. And then on the other side, you have this boy who lives in like this science fiction world where his like keepers are overly protective of him. So he's trying to escape to not be protected, basically.
Yeah. Do they end up like meeting, or is it just two completely separate stories?
I don't know.
It'd be weird if they didn't meet. I could see it being really interesting if like their adventures kind of like they never actually met, but their adventures kind of resulted in changes in each other's worlds. That could be interesting.
That would be interesting. I think they're supposed to mirror each other.
Yeah.
They're supposed to mirror each other, but like be very connected, in that like they're a very similar idea. Like they're trying to escape the people who are supposed to protect them, but they're escaping for like the complete opposite reasons.
Mm-hmm. It looks interesting. I don't play point and click very often, but I may have to actually play through this one.
The only point and clicks I played are some of the Broken Swords. That's really, again, I'm like 20 years behind everything today, but yeah, Monkey Island.
That's because Monkey Island's amazing. That's my childhood right there.
Yeah, that's almost like if you play any point and click, that's like the one that you play.
Yeah, I hear anytime point and clicks mentioned, Monkey Island comes up immediately.
I
Because it's
know.
hilarious. It's like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But
Except
yeah,
for Monkey Island 4, where they
Broken
tried to
Swords
make
were
it
awesome as well.
fucking 3D and awful.
Yeah. So I think this new adventure game, or the new Double Fine Adventure, will hopefully be along the spirit of Monkey Island. I mean, I haven't played it, but
Monkey
from what I
Island's a
hear.
humor game.
Yeah.
So
I'm
this
hoping
one
it's
looks
it's
a little
like
more
really creative.
serious.
Yeah. It looks really creative and artistic though, which is pretty common for Tim Schafer.
If you want something kind of along the lines of Monkey Island, the Cave is a lot like Monkey Island.
I've heard a lot about that. I've heard
The
a lot
Cave
about that.
is what a fucking modernized point-and-click adventure game should be like. There's a little bit of platforming, but it's really just to like navigate the world, and then it's just solving puzzles, and it's really good, for what it is. Like a lot of people looked at it and they're like, "Oh, it's a puzzle platformer." It's not a puzzle platformer. It's a lot more like a point-and-click adventure game that is just modernized.
Better check it out then. In that case.
It's really good. 3-player local multiplayer.
I've heard it's good. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's quite funny. The narrator is hilarious. The narrator is a magical cave that you and your like you and your 2 companions are like spelunking through, and the cave will provide you with anything that you wish for, and it's just quite hilarious.
Do you get to choose what you wish for? Is it like Scribblenauts?
No, each person has like a thing that they want.
Okay.
So like the knight wants to be like the heroic knight, but really he's just a scumbag piece of shit. The monk wants to be the master of like his martial art, but really he's like just a scumbag piece of shit. Everyone's a scumbag piece of shit, but like because they're like, you can do this the hard way and do it all correctly, or you can cheat and do it the easy way, and you always cheat and do it the easy way, and everyone dies except for you. You get exactly what you want.
Wow.
At like the cost of
Amazing.
everyone else's. Like,
That sounds good.
it's
I have to
amazing.
play this.
You should come over one day and we'll play it. It's like you can beat it in about an hour and a half, but the thing is that it's a game that you play through 3 times, so really it's 4.5 hour game, because there's 7 characters to choose from,
Yep.
but you can only choose 3 per playthrough. So to like do every single level in the game, you have to play through it 3 times. But you could come over and we could play it. It's local multiplayer, so even on PC.
Woo!
Yeah. Probably a good console game. I would
Probably.
assume. Yeah. Should we move on to Crytek?
Yeah, this is kind of related to something that we were talking about before. So,
Yeah.
and something we have talked about before on the podcast. So, Crytek USA is planning to put in a bid on the Darksiders franchise, which I'm super excited about because Crytek USA is actually just a bunch of like the ex-Vigil team from Houston.
The team that made Darksiders, yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of basically just want to get their IP back because they don't have the rights to it anymore.
Yeah,
which would be
because
sweet.
no one bought it during the
Yeah.
THQ auction, and to be honest, besides Saints Row, it's the best piece of IP that THQ had.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm hoping they get it just because I want to see it stay in the creator's hands. Like that.
Yeah, plus I
kinda
want to
hits
see
home
the
with
last
me,
2
right?
Darksiders games, because there's supposed to be 2 more, but
Mm-hmm.
even then they said they probably won't make one, because Crytek doesn't plan on making one, and I think they already have another project underway.
Yeah. No, it'll probably be years before you see another Darksiders if you do. But I would like to see it go back to the people who made it.
James, did you ever play Darksiders?
No.
No. Do you like Zelda games?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a not a fan, but I do play them time to time. I have played a lot of them. So is it the same kind of thing, but much more,
It's
as the title suggests, dark and
Yes.
serious, and
It's a little more
difficult,
dark
I
and
suppose.
serious. It's not more difficult. But the combat's more like a spectacle fighter, like a traditional action game. But then you also are going through dungeons and doing like the whole Zelda thing.
Ah, right.
It's a
Every-
mechanically better game. It just lacks the Nintendo polish, so it like
Ah,
People-
right.
I would say it's an objectively better game that people generally consider worse than Zelda because of subjective reasons. So basically like art style, story, and not being Zelda.
Well, every time you say it's a Zelda game, I imagine like the main character who's like, from what I remember, like Punisher with a huge sword
Yeah.
or something. And I'm like, how is that like Zelda at all? I can't
It's
see the
mechanically a
connection.
better game than Zelda, and it has a lot of the same ideas. I mean, fuck, there's a hook shot in the game, but
Is it called a hookshot?
no.
Oh, that would be kind of fun.
But
if
it works
was.
the exact way as a hook shot.
Identical. Do you have to use the C buttons on your N64 controller for everything?
No.
Oh, it's not a Zelda game.
It, I would actually consider Darksiders 2 a lot better of a game than any of the Zelda games. I liked it a lot, even the puzzles and stuff. It was just a lot better game.
The
But
combat's more enjoyable for the most part.
but it's
compared
not
to
Zelda.
games.
It lacks that polish, that style. So,
It's a gritty Zelda.
yeah. But if you like Zelda games, I highly suggest that you play it because it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
I'll
going
put
to
it
be
on my
really hard
list.
to
I've got a
find,
huge
though, in the
list.
next few months because THQ shut down and they were the publisher, so there's no new copies of it. I think you can get it digitally on PC for really cheap. It's always on sale for like $5. And then I think the last version that still is like widely available is the Wii U version. But they're stopping making that at the end of this month. Or I mean, not the end of this month, but halfway through April.
Everything's just closing down and breaking and giving up, and it's so depressing.
It is,
Well,
because
moving on,
THQ is like one of the best publishers ever. They made such...
They were at one point, yeah. I think
Well-
you're gonna find EA will live. You can't kill EA. Ubisoft will probably live.
But EA lost money, like, has had really bad quarters for like several years now. Their CEO had to resign because they're doing so poorly.
He had to
How about
resign because
Activision?
people wanted his
Activision
head
was okay.
over. People wanted his head over SimCity.
SimCity, Knights of the Old, or not Knights of the Old Republic, but the Old Republic, which is the biggest disaster financially
bad.
and creatively, and just everything that you could ever do with a video game in the history of video games. They spent $400 million making that game. It's a subscription MMO that went free to play in less than a fucking year, and it still has no player base. And they're still losing money on it.
I have no interest in it at all. I'll be honest.
No.
No one ever had any
I
interest
played.
in it.
I played
because
Galaxies.
It was fucking terrible.
I really enjoyed Star Wars Galaxies, and then I hear about like, ooh, new Star Wars MMO. I'm like, sweet. I'm gonna go look into that. I watched like one gameplay video and was like, okay, I'm closing this now.
It was terrible. It's an awful fucking game, and they spent over $400 million making it.
Jesus.
I'm not
Ugh.
kidding. Someone
Ugh.
just for shits and giggles decided to compare what the cost of making the Titanic with inflation to making like the Old Republic would be,
Oh,
and they fucking
God.
cost the same. The Old Republic is the digital version of the fucking Titanic.
What's the iceberg that it hit then? And it's the shitty captain, the CEO of EA.
Being a generic MMO. The genericness
It's
was a
actually-
gigantic fucking iceberg. It was basically the entire sea, and they lacked the ability to try something new, and they fucking ran right fucking face first into it.
Let's just say that the generalness was just the hole in the ship, so it was sinking before they even set off.
Yeah.
It was
And they knew it too.
terrible.
They were just like,
made
quick,
World
we
of
need to get as much
Warcraft.
out of this as possible.
They made World of Warcraft with fucking Star Wars characters. It was awful. And then there's all this voice acting. It has the most voice acting in any video game ever by like 30 or 40 times the amount of Dragon Age Origins, which is the second game that has the most voice acting.
I know that one. I'm doing good.
You haven't passed out yet, and that makes you the best guest we've ever had.
Ah,
By far, like,
well, if I keep this up, I might be out in a few minutes. So
Oh gee.
food coma.
It'll be a new record for people to set.
Are you gonna wake up and be like, God damn you, Ben and Jerry?
Our record for fucking how long you have to stay awake will not be that you can't pass out during the podcast, but rather you have to make it an hour.
oh great.
I like how this all spawned from Crytek.
Yep. So you
Right.
guys want to move on to the next topic that I'm excited about because I love this broken ass game.
So
Yeah,
fucking broken.
Sure.
So Paradox at GDC announced a new Magicka game, a
Yeah.
PvP oriented Magicka game.
Oh god, that's terrifying for me. I would just get shit on. I kill myself more than I kill other
Geoff,
things.
it's a team-based PvP Magicka game with
Yeah.
friendly fire.
Yeah.
We
So-
already kill each other. Like, you and I played Magicka for like 3 hours one day. That's like all we played. And we killed each other like 20 times in 3 hours. This is a Magicka game where you're trying to kill other people who are real players.
It was like 80 to 90. Like, we would be in fights against like regular bad guys and just lose because we'd murder each other by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit, I just accidentally put down this huge bomb. Now we're both dead.
And there was that one time where the fucking rain came down and I was trying to shoot lightning bolts.
Just killed
I
yourself.
just killed myself. Like, the problem is like the rain starts coming down and I'm forgetting that I'm trying to cast lightning bolts and I like hit it and it doesn't cast because like
Yeah.
I'm looking where I'm trying to cast, not at my character.
Yeah.
And so like my character's like dying. You can see it on the screen, but I'm not looking there. And I'm just spamming lightning bolt and I fucking die like in half a second. I'm like, the fuck? Because I hit
Why
it
am
like
I
20
dead?
times.
I'm sprinting around trying to revive you. Or like, I'd call the meteor spell. There's a spell that just makes meteors come down, and they can team kill, and they have huge splash damage, and they're completely random. So I'd call that, and like more often than not, it would end up killing us rather than the enemies we're fighting.
Yeah.
But it was so entertaining because you're just running around in this like chaos, just shit show, trying to
Geoff.
survive one fight.
Did you watch the trailer for the Magicka?
Yeah,
Game?
it was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah. They mocked the last episode of Game of Thrones season 2.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
I'm super excited for that game just because I know it's going to provide me with endless amounts of fun.
And chuckles, because they're just the cheesiest parodies of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Especially for a, like, turn-based game.
It's gonna be turn-based.
What?
What?
Or, I mean, not a turn-based game. I'm sorry, I lied.
I was gonna say nope. That takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's going to be amazing for just, like, a PvP game.
I think it's gonna be fucking hard. Like, I mean, obviously.
Oh, it's
that's
going to be
part of it,
incredibly hard.
but
you ever play against
Because...
it's-
good at it, you're fucked.
yeah,
You're just
like
fucked.
and the problem I see with it too is if it's anything like the combat in Magicka.
It's the exact same combat
Yeah.
as the combat in Magicka. It's
All of it-
literally Magicka designed for team-based PvP.
In one, this should just be. I mean, obviously, it's probably not gonna be that expensive because Magicka really wasn't like to
Yeah.
begin with. But I feel like this is more of a DLC rather than a new game. But
think
We'll
they're
see
trying to-
how much combat or how much there's
Mo-
changes. There's supposed to be a lot of content. So
Yeah.
okay.
Well, they
But-
they streamlined the whole like UI and all the controls and everything, and they cut the number of spells down from 40,000 to 400,
Oh,
so
Yeah,
that it's
so-
more manageable.
it doesn't matter anyways because I only use one, and that's like the giant rock that I just shoot out and like it bulldozes everybody in front of me.
you never
So-
decide to light it on fire and throw
Oh,
the giant rock that
once in a
bulldozes
while I'll
everyone?
do that, and once in a while I put a barrier up. But like,
I
so
like trying to make walls, and I always end up making like healing bombs that throw things off cliffs but heal
Yeah.
them. It's like half the time I'll be like, oh god, I need health. I'll run up to it and it'll just toss me off a cliff and kill me. I'm like, fuck.
James, one day you're going to have to play Magicka because it's so
It's-
fucking broken, but it's like the most retarded mechanics I've ever seen in my life. You
I
just
love
have like
stuff like that.
you just have so you're like using your keyboard basically to queue up like elements when
Okay.
in that you're going to use for a spell.
Mhm.
And like different combinations do different things in the spell, like create different spells. So you're like use 2 water and a lightning and
I think that just kills you.
oh yeah. No, water and lightning kills you. I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
can't use water and lightning. That damages yourself. But you can be like make a rock boulder and then let's mix some fire in and then you
Yep.
like shoot like a fireball.
Yeah.
And it's like
Okay,
all done
right.
and it's all done real time, but some of the spell combinations if you mix elements that don't work together either cancel out or they damage you, like if you mix water and lightning.
Yeah. If you mix like, and you can make other
And the
elements.
combat's
like,
really
So how are you supposed to know if you get into like the made up magical kind of elements? How are you supposed to know what everything does?
You
Don't.
don't. You just
Just
learn
try
it.
it.
You learn
Oh
through
my
experimentation. They don't even tell you what any of the spells are in the game.
Yeah, they give you. I think they give you about 50, and they're like the huge spells, like earthquakes and like calling meteors down and shit. They'll give you those, but you have to find them in the game. Otherwise, you can just figure out the combos yourself and do like ridiculous shit.
Yeah, like there's a revive spell, which is totally necessary in that game, especially if you're playing with other people, because the way the combat works in that game, like just the way that you aim abilities, especially if you're using any lasers, you just kill your team all the fucking time. And so they
Just
don't
end
tell you
up
what the risk,
like,
but they don't
what the
tell you the revive spell, so you have to figure it out.
Yeah. But luckily, it's like one of the easiest ones. You just like type W and A and hit space, and it'll revive your teammates. Because it has to be cast so much.
It's
And
one of
then,
the like best games I've ever played with friends because even though the game itself's pretty broken, it just creates like moments.
Yeah. My favorite is like you can just all like queue up half a spell and then realize I need to heal. So I'll spam heal, and I'll create the same spell, but it'll also heal everybody that's hit. So like I'll throw a fireball at a bunch of people, they'll all light on fire, and they'll also be healing, and it'll just do nothing. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's one of the best things I've ever played.
Yeah. It's just craziness. You can spawn like a wall of volcanoes that spew fire in front of you and just run away.
That sounds like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Game's fucking hard because half the time you kill yourself.
Yeah. You mean to cast one spell and you accidentally like hit one key wrong and it just puts down like a bomb at your feet that blasts you up into the air, you fly off a cliff. I would do that regularly. Like
there was one time when Geoff and I tried to walk out into the middle of the ocean because you can freeze water and walk on it, but
if you fall in it, you die.
Yeah, if you fall in it, you just die. And so, like, we're out in the middle of the water, and, like, we start...
The ice is slippery, like, you slide around.
Yeah, you slide around on the ice when you're out on the water, and we fucking fell off and died and had to, like, restart 20 minutes back.
Lost all our weapons and shit, just like, fuck. Because you can pick up swords and like, I think they're staffs.
They're staffs.
You get machine guns and shit, too.
Yeah, the machine gun's OP as fuck, by the way.
You get a machine gun and just rip through everybody in front of you. It's retarded.
Yeah, because you're like, I no longer need to cast spells. I can fucking shoot people with a gigantic machine gun, and we're in medieval times.
But you still accidentally team kill with it.
Yeah, but you still team kill with a gun.
Or your teammate will jib you while you have the gun, and the gun goes flying away, and you're like, no!
At which point the game becomes really hard again.
Yeah.
But that just sounds so stupidly amazing, though.
It is stupidly amazing.
I could excuse the difficulty or the team killing or anything like that just for one of those things.
It's just infinite. As long as you're not like pissed off, it's just infinite silliness and laughing.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't get pissed off.
Yeah.
And it pretty much runs on any. Well, it pretty much doesn't run on every computer, but it will run on every computer.
It'll be buggy on every computer.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
The game's like been patched for 5 years, and it's still fucking like I still fight with it to turn it on.
Yeah, it used to be if you got to a certain level, if you got to a certain level of the game and you completed it, the game would just crash and you'd lose your save file. So you had to get save file from other people who'd like hacked their save data to get past that level and continue playing. It was retarded.
Yeah, the game was so broken.
And people loved it. It was like the 4th level too, out of like 20 or something.
Okay, the reason why Magicka can get away with basically being completely broken is that it's such a unique experience. There's nothing like it.
Nothing even close.
Yeah. That's why I play PC games.
Isn't there a card game of it?
Magic the
Magic
Gathering?
the Gathering, which is not Magicka.
I am so fucking tired. What is
That's okay.
Should I just pass out and stop embarrassing myself? No, I'm gonna do that.
But we need you for the MGS5 part because none of
All right, let's burn through the Witcher.
And even saying that, I probably won't even remember who's the main guy. Big Boss. That's it. Oh God.
Don't worry, I only put it in there because everyone else but me plays it. I don't fucking know anything about it.
That's like the only PlayStation game I'm gonna buy. I hope it comes out for PC, so I don't have to buy a PS4.
The whole reason
Maybe
I
it'll
bought
come on
PS3 was
360.
4.
Yeah, that's why I bought a PS4 or PS3.
So we're gonna move on to the next topic: Witcher 3 details and endings. Oh my God, it sounds like someone's finally doing a story arc in an RPG correctly.
Yeah.
Because everyone got completely obsessed with choices because of Mass Effect, and Mass Effect has never done choices correctly.
They all realized, oh shit, how do we do an ending when you have so many choices? Oh, I know. Let's make it the same no matter what your choices are.
No, dude, it's not just that. In all the Mass Effect games and like every BioWare game, you get to the end of the game, and they're just like, well, you made all these choices, but now you get to choose the ending. And it's like, well, that's fucking stupid, because each ending's like supposed to correspond with what you did throughout the game.
Doesn't it all?
Makes sense, I suppose.
And so like in Jade Empire, you can like be a good person, like the good guy, and save everyone that you meet, and then choose the bad ending where everyone in the Empire is basically like subject to your cruel rule. So it's like complete 180 of what you did throughout the entire game.
Like in Knights of the Old Republic, I think you could play the good karma the whole time, and then right at the end of the game say, you know what, I feel like being a Sith, and take the evil path, and like you get like this rating that affects your powers and stuff, and it just instantly flip-flops to the other side, and you've worked the whole game to get it to like full good, and it just flip-flops right to evil
Yeah.
when you make that choice. It's
One
like,
of the great things about the Witcher series is that when you make choices in that game, like they affect the ending, but they don't let you choose the ending.
yeah,
Because like what you do throughout the game determines like what ending you're gonna get. So if you like basically kill a bunch of people that don't deserve it, then you get the bad ending, and that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And there's also no bullshit arbitrary morality system like there is in Mass Effect, where it's like you're good because you chose the blue option.
hmm it's just like you've done some shit. This is the result.
Yeah.
Have fun.
So like I was reading that interview, and they have like 3 primary epilogues, so basically like 3 major endings that are completely different than each other, depending on like what you do throughout the game. But they also have over 3,000 different endings right now.
I thought they had 36 world states.
Yeah.
So based on what you've done, there's 3 main endings, but with the variations that can occur on each of the main endings, there's actually 36.
No, there's over 3,000 different ones because of like small stuff, but they're really mildly
counting.
like changed. They don't count them because like
They stopped counting at like 300 or something.
oh, I thought they counted. Oh, maybe I'm getting it wrong.
It's 300.
Oh yeah.
But
Sorry, there's 300.
it sounds like The Witcher 3 is going to be the first RPG that actually does decisions well.
Yeah,
which is
because
exciting.
like the problem with the decisions is that like everyone likes to make choices in their RPGs. I mean, Mass Effect clearly shows that, but then none of the decisions actually have any weight because at the end of the game you just choose what you want.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about everything that CD Projekt announced every single week.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear. Anyways,
Because they're like the only developer who's doing everything correctly.
they're actually making what people want.
Too
Wow,
bad.
you don't get that often, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
It's some
Well,
of the
I guess people apparently want Call of Duty every year.
The Witcher series is like some of the best writing in video games, and I think it shows that like video games can be mature. I think I say this all the time. Like the Witcher series is probably the most mature set of series of games I've ever played. Like there's sex, drugs, violence, racism, all that stuff in it, but it doesn't handle it in a childish manner. Like
Yeah,
the
you know,
sex.
yeah. I know what you mean. My friend, he has The Witcher 2, and he was just playing. I was just over one day, and he was just playing it, and then I walked into, I think it was a sex scene. I can't really remember, but it's like everything that was happening you could actually take relatively seriously, which in most cases would be kind of impossible to take seriously, and somehow it manages to pull it off.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Well, it's
really
based on a
good.
really good set of Polish books called The Witcher, but they're not really related. Like it's the same characters. They write their own story because the author says that it would be stupid to try to like make the books change over.
Yeah.
I see.
So it's based on an actual mature book series, and then they're going about creating it the correct way. It's like the only company that really understands how to make good fiction inside a video game medium. Really. Good
Yeah,
realistic.
plus they have some really excellent development practices when it comes to ports.
Yay!
Because like they develop a PC version like with The Witcher 2, it came out on PC and then a year later they released it on Xbox 360, but the reason why they did that was because it took them a year basically to change the control scheme and change the game enough so that it would actually work with a gamepad.
Yeah. No, they're everything that we complain about or for computer games and console games and any other company that makes mistakes, these guys do not make those mistakes at all. They do the exact opposite, and it works very well.
There were performance issues like on the PC version, but they just patched them out. But like there's nothing that couldn't be changed. There's nothing that couldn't be fixed. They're like, this one shader doesn't work very well and kind of kills performance. We're going to fix it.
Definitely interested to see how good The Witcher 3 is. I'm thinking it could be
It looks
like,
amazing.
insanely
so far.
good.
I'm unbelievably
see.
excited.
We'll see. I'm skeptical that something so perfect could exist. From what they're saying, I'm like, it's impossible. They're gonna have microtransactions. They're gonna do it. Just wait and see.
Well, The Witcher 3 sounds like the perfect open world RPG, pretty much, because it's a game where the game keeps going after. There's a lot of design things that I have take problem with in RPGs, especially Skyrim, where it's really obvious and blatant. Because in Skyrim, you can just wander off from the main quest and never do it, but the world doesn't keep evolving, and no one recognizes you. And they're fixing that. They're letting the world keep going. You can fail the main quest because you fuck off and don't do it, and shit keeps progressing just because you're not there. Plus, it's an open world game, which one of the complaints about Witcher 2 was that it was not huge environments, and it was kind of closed because everything was chapter based, and so you couldn't really backtrack. But this is a huge open world game, and it's not only a huge open when I say huge, I mean it's huge. Skyrim is a third of the size of the Witcher 3 world right now.
That's insane.
Fuck me. That's pretty big then. That is gargantuan.
Yeah, plus there's a lot more variation in environments and areas. In Skyrim, you don't really have a huge seaport. There is one, but it's not huge. There's a tiny dock outside of the city. It's lame. Whereas this is a huge city on the water that's just a gigantic seaport. Just from
So it's like Waterworld, but better.
Yes, that is exactly what is being said.
That is that's what I picked up from that. Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect.
It's super Skyrim. That's what it is. Should we
Yeah, let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on to MGS5, The Phantom Pain, being announced at GDC this week. So
Shark can take a breath.
There you go.
Guys.
That's all that needs to be said about that, I reckon.
I watched the trailer, and the trailer is really excellent. I have it running on this.
Hideo Kojima, that guy knows how to make fucking trailers. I mean, I think there was a trailer for MGS4 or something that was 15 minutes long.
Yeah,
and it was a trailer, and then some weird shit, and then a completely unrelated trailer that seemed like it was for a different game, and then some weird shit, and it was just I don't know what this is, but I want it, and I want it right now. What is going on?
It's because Kojima's the biggest movie fan on planet Earth, and he just knows what makes people tick, and then he knows exactly what he wants to give to his fans, and he's a genius.
Yeah.
I was watching the making of Metal Gear Solid 4, and it's just so amazing. It's unbelievable. Just the whole process and how he works and what he wants to do with it and how he talks to his staff, and it's the best thing ever. To work with him would be one of the most endearing and just most rewarding and just pleasant things. Even though you'd be doing so much work, it would be just amazing. It'd be so nice.
Just infinite feeling of achievement with that guy.
Yeah. And he just looks like such a nice person.
Yeah. All I know is when they did the teaser video that was quite clearly for Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
That was the weird hospital game. I was just can I play that right now? That looks like the coolest thing I have played in years. I want a controller in my hands, and I want to just play through that scene.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was I don't even care if this is the shittiest game ever. I'm buying it and I'm playing that scene.
Yeah. Question is, now, actually no, I heard as well that it's apparently going to be the first open world version of Metal Gear Solid. Which
I
would
heard
be
it's going to be open world.
Which would be a tricky thing to do.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a really cool idea.
Open world cinematic games are really hard to do.
Yeah.
Open world story games are really hard to do. I mean, I complained about it with Skyrim 3 minutes ago, and it's just because you walked out of the room though when I was talking about it. One of the issues with it is that you can walk away from doing the main objective or continuing to basically push the story forwards, and then the story just stops and the world stops evolving and
just waits for you to
and
come
it
back.
just waits for you to come back.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I was like that with Red Dead Redemption, to be honest. It's just
it doesn't make sense. It's really stupid. One of the things that I mentioned about The Witcher 3 is that they're not doing that. You can fail if you don't keep progressing the story because things get out of control and you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to go kill like a monster or something somewhere, and you just wander off, it'll like destroy a whole city. Like shit.
So like the thing is that
Like that's what I'm hoping
MGS
for, anyway.
has basically been so story driven for so long because now I know someone's gonna get really pissed at me if I say this, but it's not that great of a stealth game mechanically. It's kind of shitty. But the game itself,
I wouldn't say that, but
I would
thought you were
say
going to say
the
I thought
stealth
you were gonna
mechanics
say
just
the
aren't
whole-
that good.
I would say MGS3 was really, really good. I really enjoyed the stealth mechanics in that. MGS4, I just ended up playing it as a shooter. I would just like sneak up, get a couple shots off, kill a couple guys, and then with like a silenced pistol, and then like pull out a better gun and just finish everybody and walk through. Like the stealth part didn't really work for me in that game because it felt really condensed and linear comparatively.
If anything, the stealth in well, the first one on the PS1, obviously, it's kind of limited to what the PlayStation could do.
Yeah.
It's very simplistic, and because of that, it's very fun to play, and it's still got its tense bits and blah blah blah. Then when the second one's enemy AI was like hyped up to full, and like you make one noise, someone turns around and sees you, and then they call for backup, and then they can like cut off your exits and all that shit. It's like you don't want to get spotted, and that's what I like. So that it's like it might not be like the most like if you're kind of standing on one end of the room and then there's a guy that's looking dead straight at you, you'd think he'd see you, but he doesn't because you're not in the viewing cone of the Soliton radar and all that rubbish. But it's more of the fact that you really don't want to be seen. So it's in that sense, that's what kind of works in its favor.
I feel like it would be a lot better if I played it on a really hard difficulty, so if I do get in a gunfight, I'm fucked.
You want to try extreme, European extreme on, I think it's Metal Gear Solid 3, which is as soon as you're spotted, it's game over.
Oh shit.
Which is, and you have no radar usage.
Wait, but like,
I think it might be two, but you have no radar usage, and the minute you're spotted, it's game over.
how does that work with like boss fights and shit?
Oh, I think it's like, unless there's supposed to be an alert
Unless
system.
you have to kill somebody or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, unless you have to, then, yeah. But if you're just going along and get spotted, then you're fucked. Which I suppose, if it was real life, would be the most realistic scenario. If you were spotted in that situation,
you're not gonna finish your.
You'd be
objective.
dead. You'd be dead in seconds.
It's like whatever you're going in to get is now gone, so you might as well leave.
Yeah. Just send another agent in there and try again.
Yeah. Well, now it's moved. We gotta go find it somewhere else now.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a bit of a worry with when it comes to 5, when they're talking about doing it open world. And because it is very story driven and cinematic, it will be very difficult because the other games are very channeled. They're very explorable and they're free roaming, but it's very funneled and very channeled, and you do have things to do. But everything that if you take too long on something, it all happens around where you are. Where if it's going to be open world, then everything's got to have an effect somewhere else in this open world. If you don't do something here, something over there will be changed. But in the other games, you won't get that because everything's all enclosed into one place. So I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off. So I'm interested.
I'm hoping it's kind of like Metal Gear Solid 3, where like there's key points that you're always funneled towards that you always need to do, so that it can have that cinematic experience. But between that, like you know how they had the survival elements, you'd have to go around and like find food and shit and bandages and take care of yourself. I hope they do something like that, but then just expand those areas out more, so there's way more routes that you can take, but you always end up going towards the same goal.
Yeah, and you got to like find out where you're going yourself, and you don't get any obvious indicators. And it's you got to try. You actually got to look for what you're supposed to be doing.
Like you've got a goal in mind, but you don't know where that goal is.
Yeah.
Right.
What I don't want is side missions. It wouldn't make any sense in the story anyway, but it would just ruin it.
I could see optional objectives.
Yeah, but
like,
not
you know,
like
set up like a distractive explosive with a timer or something. So you got to go find like C4, and you got to like rig up like a watch or something to set it off, you know, and then plant that somewhere else so it goes off and makes another part of the quest or the mission easier.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be good.
Not like infiltrate this enemy stronghold and bring me 5 M9s, please, and then I'll give you some gold or something.
I wouldn't spend on better camo suits. Ooh.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't play that. I'll be honest. I'd just be like, no, I'm out. Take it back, trade it in. I'm excited for it.
I'm hyped as fuck over it.
I,
Mostly, not because I'm interested in how the game's gonna play, but I just love the story and I love all the characters. And even I can admit that it is very stupid. I can easily admit it's very silly. But
I can't fall in love with it anymore because the first game I played was Metal Gear Solid 2, and I started halfway in, like my brother was playing through it, and I was like, "Oh, can I play?"
That must have been weird.
It was fucked. And then like the 45-minute cinematic at the end, we got up and left. We just left it running because we couldn't skip it. It was just like I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They've gone so deep and hypothetical.
Really that's actually quite funny. You really would.
I'm gone.
That's like the
I'll
worst
be back
thing
when
you
the
can
boss
do,
fight
Geoff.
starts. Yeah, I just didn't know.
And it's also running on the new Fox engine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is I haven't looked too much into it, but all the tech demos I've seen, it looks really, really good.
Tech demos are always BS because they always use a lot of fancy effects that
they
can be
do
done in dynamic environments.
They do over Jeezify it a little bit. I just made that word up.
Mm-hmm.
They do. They put all the effort into just the tech demo, and then everything else is just kind of,
you look
The
at
real difference is the tech demo is the size of like your bathroom, whereas the actual game is the size of your neighborhood that they need to render at once. So they need to spread out all the details in the tech demo over a way larger area, usually in the game. So
it does. Yeah,
but it's not even that. It's like, look at this tech demo. We're running it at 180 FPS, so you can see like it's super well optimized. But it's like you can only apply that shader to one object because if you apply it to two, there's too much dynamic lighting to process, and then it dies.
Yeah.
So it's like and
yes,
even
you can produce hyper realistic faces,
and
but you
even
can't
stuff
do
like
that in game.
Geoff, if you look at Capcom and Deep Depth or whatever, DD, the new Dragon Dogma's game that they announced at the PS4 announcement.
Deep Down or something.
Deep
Down,
Down, whatever.
What a weird name for a game.
Well, it's not. That's just like their code name for it, but it's DD, which means it's a Dragon's Dogma game. It's a sequel to Dragon's Dogma. And so they show this thing and they're like, it's all done in engine. And it's like, yep, that can all be done in engine, just not dynamically.
Yeah. It can all be done in engine, it can all be done dynamically. It can't be done on a scale that's required for a real video game.
No, but even like with the Deep Down trailer though, Geoff, it couldn't be done dynamically. There's no fucking way.
It is, but if it's running in engine,
no,
then
like it's all just scripted out. Like you can do, if you script it out, you can do it better. Like it's less.
With graphics, you don't script graphics. You can bake them, which you can do in a real-time environment anyways, like a real game. You can bake everything, which means you basically calculate it before you run the game, right? Which is usually like reflections and stuff. If you can't see your character in a reflection, the reflection's baked, which is way, way easier on your machine to render. But like if they can do it in a tech demo, they can run it real time, then they can do it dynamically. They just can't do it at a scale that's necessary to make a game out of it. Right? So when you do go and actually create a real environment, you're like, shit, I need that processing power for AI now. Fuck.
Pretty much.
Game drops, it looks worse. But I don't know, I don't think it's like they're not lying to you. That's just not what the game's gonna look like. You take 2/3 of what they show you.
It does what it's supposed to do, which is excite you.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
And they can actually do that in the game. They can. If the game is just some dude's face. Like if some dude's face is a game, right? You could do that. But, you know, the tech demos just, they're too small. They're too confined. They're too simplistic. There's no AI. Like, it doesn't really...
Yeah, all it is, it just shows you what they've got and how they're going to use it. I don't think it's supposed to be anything like the final product. It's just showing you, here's what we've got and here's what we can do with it. It's not like... We could
totally do it as the final product. There's like 2 computers that could run it.
Fine.
It'd be amazing. Well, I should devote my life to. I should devote my life to making a game that looks like the real world and acts like the real world and is gigantic, but only one.
It only runs on like the latest U.S. military quantum computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about a
fucking
game
fantastic.
I was thinking about a game that could be made like Google Earth, but you can walk around it.
Like,
The
and
The
like,
complete
Wii U
pointless.
Google
I feel like
Street
Grand
app.
Theft Auto Earth, that would be amazing. The
Like,
whole
so,
Clearly,
like-
James, you were just thinking of the Wii U Google Street Map app that they
Basic.
fucking pushed on the eShop for some reason. Like, it was special.
But like, just like, find out like how many people live in a certain area, and then put the people as sprites in wherever you live, and it'll be different from wherever you are, and you get weird. And so it's like The Sims and Sim City and Sim everything. It'd just be Sim everything.
be Sim World.
So you just got to
Well,
make.
that.
So basically, it's just life in a video game. So you might as well just not play it and live.
And like, you can't have any effects on the world. It just listens to like changes in global news.
Yeah.
So it's literally just like, I don't like living in BC. I'm gonna play this game and have a house in like London, hang out in London for the rest of the day. You're like,
And your
walk.
character's super poor, can't afford to live there, and
You're just
can't
simulating
travel
somebody-
back to a cheaper place because he spent his life savings moving to an overpriced city.
Yeah. That would be excellent.
Then he dies in squalor.
Yeah.
Before you can move to London, you have to fill out immigration papers. Spend 4 years stuck.
You have to take like a
That's
citizenship
such a
test.
funny idea.
It's amazing. Let's do it. Let's make immigration the game, where you just sit in lines, fill out paperwork.
Toll booth, the game. Traffic jam, the game.
Oh god.
We should actually just make these.
Traffic Jam the game would be amazing.
Dude, Traffic Jam the game would be better than
And
Dinner
the
Date.
Rage of people around you and your own road rage. And if you let anybody's road rage get too high, you get out, you duke it out, you lose, and you have to restart the game.
Dude, clearly we're just talking about making more games in the Dinner Date series. Like, clearly that guy knows what's up. Have you ever played Dinner Date, James? Do you know what it is?
I don't know what that is. No.
You are a lonely man who has a dinner date, so he makes dinner, and then he sits there waiting for his date to show up, and she never shows up. You can just sit there like eat the bread, drink your water, but your dinner date never shows up.
Yeah. Does your guy just get like
is
increasingly
it a
depressed?
joke or is it like a legitimate game?
It's on Steam. It's like $1. It's got real
Oh.
graphics and stuff. It's hilarious.
Oh my
Does
god.
your guy like increasingly depressed as you just sit there?
Kinda. Well, you get increasingly depressed.
Is it kind of like a test of faith?
It's a
Like,
dinner
you-
date simulator where like it's
But it's
supposed to
not
be a
sim
sim
date,
game.
because the date never
It
shows up,
simulates
so-
you sitting down for a dinner date and being stood up because they never
it-
show up.
Would it test like? Do you have any choices to like eat what's in front of you and shit like that?
Yeah, you can eat what's on the table in front of you.
But yeah, it's a test of faith. Do you
Yeah.
wait, or do you just say fuck it and then eat everything? That's the whole point.
Well,
If I'm-
you kind of
you
just say
wait till
fuck it and
the door
turn off the
closes.
game because you get frustrated 4 hours in because she still hasn't shown up.
Does he just keep going?
Yeah.
That's the best idea ever.
So
never
we
ends.
could have a game called Traffic Jam where you're just sitting in your fucking car, not moving at all for 5 hours.
Yeah, but you can like honk your horn and shit and turn up your radio and like turn your air conditioning on and off, and your dude would get.
Yeah, you have to like
got
you have to like you have to adapt to the environmental.
Your character
changes
gets
that
more and more uncomfortable.
Yeah, and like angry that he's stuck in traffic, and if you don't manage your character's anger well enough, he'll eventually like get out, and you like can't stop him. He'll get out and just like get pissed off and start fighting the guy in the car in front of you or something.
Be amazing.
Lose.
Let's make it, Jeff. We can make it in a weekend.
Oh god, no! I'd want to spend like a month on this.
Okay, well, we could make the actual game in a weekend, and then we'd have pretty much spend a month between you and I trying to do artwork. And then we'd get frustrated and hire someone.
The month would literally just be voice acting because neither of us would be able to express enough emotion. For the
Yeah,
game.
that's an issue. I'm completely monotone. I don't have emotion at all, so...
Yeah, and I just burst out laughing every time I try to say something angry.
Yeah.
I think if there should be like some sort of mod or something for dinner date where you can sit there for as long as you want. The date will never show up, but the minute that you touch the food, she shows up, and then the game tells you that you're a bastard for not waiting, and then it ends. At any point, like 20 minutes in, you choose to eat, she comes up. 4 hours
Optional
in.
DLC.
I'd buy the shit out of
Cost-
that.
cost
That would be
$8.
the funniest thing.
The original game was $1. It's like we needed the
So-
money to afford to make the character model for the female.
Metal Gear Solid 5, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, real
Traffic
good.
simulator.
Dream on, Kojima. Dream on.
So let's just move on to the next topic. So Yoichi Wada, the CEO for Square-Enix, is stepping down in June. He announced that this week after the company basically posting a lot of losses for several quarters now and bad sales for 3 really great games, which was Hitman Absolution, Sleeping Dogs, and Tomb Raider.
So none of those games made me want to spend the $60 in order to buy them.
Nope.
They were all really
Nothing
good,
initially
though.
about- nothing
They're a lot
initially
better
about
than a lot of
Tomb
other
Raider did,
$60
but-
games.
Tomb Raider seemed like I was kind of excited for it, but I don't really want to buy it. I was like, eh.
I was when I was
Yeah.
like watching all the trailers and seeing gameplay. I was just I thought it looked very cliched and boring and just.
It's
oh, you're
apparently
trying
a
to make
lot
Lara
better
a
version.
character. You're trying to make a character out of a boob monster, and
Don't talk about the
And
boob
they
monster.
apparently succeed in doing that at least for like the first
Terrifying.
hour.
yeah, I haven't. I know. Yeah, so because of that, I kind of went on my first impressions and didn't really buy it. But then when everyone started playing it and reviewing it, and it seemed to get along pretty damn well, so I was thinking about getting it now.
I
It
feel
apparently does Uncharted
it's
better
like
than
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
yeah, it's like an Uncharted.
As I've heard,
Yeah, which is why I was interested in it because I really liked Uncharted. But
I love Uncharted.
yeah, I don't have the time to invest in that game when I burn all my time on Minecraft.
Hitman Absolution was really good.
It's only $10 on Steam now too, so
I don't want.
Yeah, it's on sale right now for $10.
I never
but I don't
liked.
even know if I want to push that forward towards it.
Well, if you're not gonna play it, then don't. Obviously.
Yeah.
I
too much to
I
do.
bought it. I played it because I love Hitman. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a pretty good Hitman game. There's issues with it, like the environments are too small in comparison to previous Hitman games, and that ends up becoming somewhat restrictive. But the environment's a lot more detailed.
I never played any of the previous ones, so I guess the complaints probably wouldn't carry over to me. But
Blood Money is like one of the best PC games ever.
I don't think I've played Hitman since I don't even remember. I think it was N64, maybe it was Xbox. But we rented it one time, and like I remember trying to do one mission, getting like halfway through it, and then being like, "It's taking a long time, and I'm not having fun."
It's a slow, methodical game, so
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not the game for me. The
I
same
like
with
slow games. I'm getting old. I don't like all this fast-paced stuff. Don't like all these Call of Duty clones.
getting old at 21. Oh God,
Oh,
hair's
fuck.
going gray, metabolism slowing down.
I'm getting fat. I've become lazy. I don't even shave.
You look like you just shaved like 2 days ago.
I
Maybe
shaved
less.
yesterday.
Incorrect statement.
I don't even use a disposable razor anymore because it's too much work. I just use an electric one.
I don't know. I didn't. They're 3 games. I mean, they were good games. I'm not going to argue against that. But I had no reason to buy them. I didn't want to. I wasn't really interested in them. I was just kind of glanced over them. I didn't even realize when they came out. I'd hear about it like 3 weeks later. Like, oh hey, that game got rated well.
I think one of the issues that they're doing, like, is that they're setting sales expectations too high, and like every publisher right now is spending a ton of money investing in like these huge games, but they're expecting sales to be a lot higher than they're going to be because everyone wants to be the next Call of Duty and the next Battlefield, but those 2 games are like the most broad-reaching games because every male from like ages 8 to 50 likes them.
right.
Like, regardless of being a gamer. And then, like, most gamers, which is what, you should market games towards, fucking hate them. And so it's like, and there's a lot less gamers than there are, like, I guess there's a lot less, like, hardcore or more invested gamers, like people who have played games their whole life and, like, play a wider range of stuff than just Call of Duty, than there are Call of Duty players. Like, there's a lot less of them.
Yeah, of course.
And so you're not going to make a game that isn't Call of Duty and expect it to sell as well as Call of Duty.
Yeah. I don't know. They're putting a lot into these blockbuster games, and it's starting to cripple them a bit. All the big publishers. I would like to see cheaper, smaller, more creative games because those are some of the games that I have the most fun with.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
digital distribution's
blockbuster games are
doing
just
that.
turning into blockbuster movies. That's just
Where you
what's
click
going
A
on.
to go to like the next scene. It's like,
They cost more to make than a blockbuster movie, though.
yeah.
And they
I
make
don't
more
know.
money than blockbuster movies.
The only
Only
blockbuster.
some of them. Blockbuster movies are a lot more consistent in how much money they make, regardless of
I
whether or not
guess.
they're good or bad. The
Do
only
overall-
two that
do
are
video
consistent in how
games-
much money they make are Battlefield and Call of Duty and Halo.
Do video games overall make more money than movies every year? That's what I thought. Unless I'm wrong.
I believe
I
so.
think they may have passed them.
They pass them, but it's questionable whether or not it's more profit because it's more expensive to make most video games.
Mhm.
At least it's more expensive to make blockbuster video games than AAA titles
Mm-hmm.
because you're paying people $50 an hour or more.
Yay! That's why I'm going into that industry.
Plus, you still have to hire on all your cinematography guys and everyone that you normally have to hire on to make a movie, anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. The only real blockbuster game that I've played recently that I'm like, yeah, this deserved its budget, like they did well with this budget, was BioShock Infinite. Because that one, I'm in there, I'm like, hell yeah, this money went to good use. Like,
It's so
this
good.
game is amazing.
Speaking about stupid blockbuster games, do you guys want to move on to the next topic?
Sure.
Battlefield 4 was announced this week with a dumbass 17-minute long trailer that I'm going to play while we're talking about this. Fuck yeah.
It's about time it got announced. Jeez.
About time it got announced because
Yeah,
everyone knew
I
it
had
was
no
coming
idea it
out.
was coming out at all. Like, it was just a huge surprise.
So
There's a fourth one?
there's a fourth one coming out this year, and it has a 17-minute trailer.
This is a 17-minute trailer.
Wait, no, okay, well, I didn't know anything about this until I saw it in the document. Does the trailer involve people getting shot?
Yes.
Yes! You are correct.
In the face?
Some of them.
Yes.
No,
Okay,
no,
only
because
some of them. Okay,
the
right.
guy playing this game
Is bad.
dude, that pissed me off so much. He's shooting at people's feet. I'm like, no, how, like, what are you using a controller? Are you
It was with the
blind?
controller.
Yeah.
They played with the controller, yeah. But it was still like, he got very few headshots.
I want
like
to
it.
note that the
It'd be like,
trailer,
what
though,
Was it a gameplay trailer?
some
Oh, yeah.
of it is gameplay, some of it is not.
It's cutscenes from the game, though. Like,
Yeah.
it's basically the
Yeah.
full first level of the game.
I want to
But-
note that this trailer is awful trailer-like. There's some really terrible music. There's
Mhm.
some really bullshit, not very dramatic drama. Like, this is a Call of Duty trailer, but with fucking Battlefield. And I'm like, damn it, DICE, stop
And
doing
it
this.
all
I've never seen the difference between COD and Battlefield, and I
There's
don't
a
honestly
gameplay difference,
care.
mainly the online stuff, but they
What is like a
minimized
bunch
that in
of
Battlefield
monkeys
3.
who can't stop sprinting, running around with like a huge knife, screaming at each other. Battlefield is very similar, but some of those monkeys have guns. And they don't run as fast.
Fair.
I was like, okay, this isn't acceptable.
Battlefield 2 was like more tactical because of the team-based stuff, but
Yeah.
they decided to streamline and casualize the team-based play for Battlefield 3 by reducing the amount of classes, basically. And so Battlefield 3 is like a fucking kids game in comparison to Battlefield 2. Like, there was a bit of
Battlefield-
strategy and actual required teamwork in order to win a match in Battlefield 2, but Battlefield 3 is like, I have 4 really good lone wolves on my team. They will somehow manage to beat this team of 30 fucking people.
Yeah, well, Battlefield is sort of like a slightly more realistic military simulator than Call of Duty, and it's way bigger, way more open maps, so it has like vehicles and stuff in it.
Yeah, well, it's 32 versus 32 instead of 4v4.
I think it's like 8v8's the biggest in Call of Duty, or 9v9, something like that.
Yeah. It's stupid. But the Battlefield 4 trailer, it doesn't make sense why... Like, DICE keeps announcing Battlefield with
Single-player
the
trailers.
single-player trailers. Even though it's a multiplayer game, no one... The Battlefield 3 single-player campaign was one of the worst campaigns I've ever fucking played in an FPS.
It had
was
one?
terrible.
Was it really?
It
It
was
had one?
awful. Yeah, Jeff, it had one. It was terrible.
I never played it.
They announced
nuts.
with it. They announced with it, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And then people played it for like 20 minutes. I played it for 20 minutes. It was fucking awful. It was unplayably bad.
Is that the really shitty thing where like a building falls over and like it
Yeah.
gets on this side, it starts falling this way, and then all of a sudden it just stops and like goes 90 degrees and falls the other way for no reason? You're like,
Yeah,
was that
I
just
think
so
the-
it doesn't fall on the player? Like that was retarded.
it's really heavily scripted and is broken ass scripting too. It's like walk through a door, and now the door's just gonna close behind you,
Yeah.
even though there wasn't a door there before.
I think the part they showed in the trailer was like the sniper up in a hotel shooting down at your squad, and then
I think
one
that's
guy
the
gets
main
hit.
part I played.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the and
Yeah.
okay. But to be honest, I kind of like the spec ops, not the spec ops missions, but the co-op missions. They were good. There were 6 of them, so that's shit. They should have added more of those. I thought like the campaign's pretty dumb. Add more to the co-op missions because this game's evolved around the online play. Why not just add more online play when? Like, I guess it's not part of, like, that's not their selling point, obviously, but it was, like, fun to just, like, take a break and go off and do that, but...
It just doesn't make sense why they decided to announce with the single player, because the sad thing about the single player is, like, I'm looking at the trailer, and it looks exactly like the Battlefield 3 campaign, which was terrible, but DICE
Yeah.
showed that they can make a Battlefield campaign good with the Bad Company series, and they're deciding
yeah.
to not go that way, and instead go the fucking wrong way.
I suppose it's kind of like they know who they're aiming for, and they know that everybody's going to only do the multiplayer, so that if they show a trailer that has single player in it, then everybody will go, "Whoa, this has single player in it. This is different." And
When
then
it's
they'll
really
buy
had
it.
it before, but nobody remembers because it was shit.
It's been in the
Well,
last
then,
4
yeah,
Call of Duty
there you
games.
go.
Or,
So
I
then
mean,
if
it's been
they-
in the last 4 Battlefield games.
Yeah. I thought Battlefield.
If you like, if you
3
over dramatize the single player, then people will get interested because all they ever do is play online. So
Yeah. I think why they do the single player is because they can script events. They can script cool shit.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the best shooter trailer I ever saw was, it was like a 4-minute clip from a testing game of, I think it was Black Ops. And it was like this whole teamwork thing playing like the mode where you have to like plant a bomb in Black Ops on this one level. And it just looked sweet because I was like, holy crap, like look at that level of teamwork. Like I want to be in that group. And then I bought the game and it sucked.
Yeah, because people online don't play like that. No one ever does.
But that was so much, it meant like it was so much more to me. It made me want the game so much more than any single player like trailer ever has, except for maybe Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, like the first one. That game actually had a good single player.
Yeah, that campaign was awesome.
that was the
I
bit.
actually
That was
like
the one where it started off with the nuke, wasn't it?
Yeah, it had a
that's
new
like halfway through the game.
level.
Or was that the half? I don't remember.
It's like halfway through the game, your
If you're,
character
like, in the
dies
nuclear
because they get
blast
blown up
zone.
in a nuclear explosion.
Yeah. The game started with an execution. You were the guy being executed. And you're like in a car and you get dragged off into like this plaza and a dude shoots you in the face.
And then after that, every game had to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, and now all of them have been ruined.
They all suck comparatively. It's just like, come on, guys.
Actually, Black Ops 2 is the best Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 1. It's reasonably good. The
I'm-
campaign's playable, which is a fucking improvement over the last 3 or 4 because they were unplayable.
Yeah.
This one just doesn't care, so you're like riding around on a horse in the middle of the desert, fucking shooting tanks with a missile launcher off horseback. And
Oh,
then
yeah, launching
later
out.
in the game, you drive a boat car, so that's awesome.
So really, they just realized, hey, we can't make any deep story or anything that you care about, so we'll just put the most awesome shit ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they did with Modern Warfare 2, and it drove me nuts.
Modern Warfare 2 was fucking stupid, though, because it wasn't that much cool shit. It's just
It
like,
wasn't
look how
really-
nonsensical this fucking story is.
Yeah.
You're like, your ex-captain who's no longer affiliated with the military somehow got some dudes together to go fucking get a bunch of nuclear weapons and shoot them at people. It's like, the fuck is happening?
No, that game was just fucked. They admitted that they just came up with as many cool scenarios as they could, and then came up with a shitty story to tie them all together, so you could play them in like one story arc. It's like that's the worst fucking way to design a game ever. Good job.
Terrible. I never
Yeah.
bothered to play 3. I assumed it was bad. probably worse.
Yeah.
Infinity Ward makes the worst half of the Call of Duty series, always has, besides Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah. Which I think they probably were like brainstorming for that for years.
It's what you get with yearly releases.
Yeah, that's what you get with really shitty shooters that don't update at all every release.
Battlefield comes out every year, which is something people never bother to acknowledge. There's been a Battlefield every year since 1942.
But I only ever bought Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 3. And those were like 7 years apart for
And
me.
I didn't buy any of them.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, no, you're saving your money. It's a good call. Spend it on better games. Spend it on more Monkey Island games.
Monkey Island, pretty amazing. So, do you guys want to wrap this here shindig up, or is there anything that anyone has that they want to talk about?
I think I'm good.
Think I'm all set too.
Yeah, I've got nothing more to add.
All right, then. So, obviously, thanks for coming on, James.
That's okay. Sorry for my travesty and lack of knowledge in your fields and everything.
That's okay.
worries.
Best guest we've ever had.
Because
By
I
miles.
didn't pass
Yeah.
out in 40 minutes.
Didn't pass out. Didn't take too many bong tokes. He only took a few. Made it the whole way through.
Yeah. Only
Probably
needed
the
one
only
tub of
person
ice
who-
cream.
Stick sumos.
Only needed
All-
one tub of ice cream.
Contributed in areas I didn't know anything about, like Metal Gear. Played
Yeah.
games.
Okay, as long as I wasn't completely useless, I'm happy with that.
No, it was excellent.
Yeah.
Obviously, thanks for coming back, Geoff. We need you.
We need somebody who can talk about hardware and development processes. It's
Yes.
necessary.
Because two minds are better than one. And plus, I think people don't like to listen to me rant.
Infinitely. Need little
Infinitely.
breaks.
Yeah. We need to change from one monotone man to another
Slightly
less monotone man.
who mumbles a little bit.
Yes, with a worse mic, but
Yeah.
Tyler's just on. We don't need to acknowledge him.
It's a,
We
it's
just
a
need to
given.
strike
It's
insight.
So, thank you everyone for watching and or listening. This has been podcast episode number 10 for March 31st, and we'll hopefully see you next week.